I was saying there was me and you singing the way the jingles were. We could be good singers.
Is there anything about your other half that annoys you?
Anything about...
Not important stuff. True. Do you know what's easier? Because I've got something that annoyed me this morning.
What annoyed you?
Right.
You're going to get a text now on your phone. And your
I don't
watch.
care. Ashley drove the car a very short distance yesterday. Like, I'm on about...
She didn't fill it up.
No.
Red light.
My seat completely adjusted, brought forward, raised, tilted forward.
Right.
And
she didn't put it back.
Mirror moved. No.
Oh my God.
But it was only to go like half a kilometre.
I know, and that was just terrible. That's just
that is so annoying.
Greg, that is really so annoying.
That annoys you?
No, how would that annoy you?
Huh?
How would that annoy?
Because I have to get into the car. Firstly, smash my head off the windscreen.
Boo-hoo,
smash my head off the windscreen.
Oh, you poor wee thing. Any texts yet?
Dry your eyes.
Dry your eyes is right. Here, I have Kleenex here. Where's the box of Kleenex?
Maybe they were moved by someone.
All right, okay. See, have you spoilt in here? Have you all prepped up, and then we short wee minutes when we're changing over? Volume set it, the seats at the right.
But you're good. You've got the seat
heat
perfect.
temperature.
Oh
got
my
the,
God!
Got the temperature in the room at 23 degrees for you.
Will you marry me?
Much money?
Oh, it's always about money, isn't it? Seriously.
Huh?
You know how to look
after
a man.
You a good cook?
No, not with your dietary requirements.
All right, okay then.
Too complicated for me.
Just stick with what you have.
All right, take care.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a good weekend.
I might see you later, mate.
Oh, you're in studio?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk
okay.
more. Right?
Try and tell Tiny not to call me the B word that ends in an X.
But he always calls everybody that.
Well,
he's bad language.
All right, take care of yourself. It's 9:01. Our Friday panel is assembled. They'll be joining us very shortly. But first, let's get that news update. And it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. It appears a surgical hub that is set to be established in the northwest will be based in Sligo as opposed to Donegal. During a recent visit to Letterkenny University Hospital, Health Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeill stated that no decision had yet been made. However, during a meeting in recent days, the HSE West Northwest confirmed that it was recommending Sligo as the preferred location based on population. A final decision has yet to be made by the HSE. Donegal Deputy Padraig McLaughlin says under no circumstance can the need for a surgical hub in Letterkenny be overlooked.
Letterkenny Hospital has about 25,000 per annum every year. Sligo is about 15,000. So in other words, our hospital is 50 to 60% more busy, more demanding every single year. So there can be no justification. And what all of the public representatives who met with senior management in recent days have told them that we're not going to stand for this. We won't accept second-class citizenship for the people of Donegal.
The Taoiseach has been told that the reality of the defective concrete block crisis is that many are still being left behind. Donegal Deputy Charles Ward lobbied Simon Harris in the Dáil to extend the current defective block grant scheme to include additional buildings such as community and childcare centres. The need for new building for the condemned Rafo playgroup was again highlighted, with the Taoiseach confirming that efforts on the matter are ongoing. Deputy Ward says unless the government is forthcoming with solutions, centres impacted by defective blocks will shortly be non-existent.
If we do not address these issues, our community centres in Donegal are going to basically tumble to the ground around us within the next 5 years. So I would ask you to look into extending this scheme to include these important community buildings.
The 125th Irish Infantry Battalion, who have served in South Lebanon for the last 6 months, are coming home today. 170 troops, including a large proportion stationed in Donegal, will land at Dublin Airport this afternoon following their tour of duty. Personnel consisting of different units across the Army, Air Corps and the majority of the 125th Infantry Battalion's personnel from the 28th Infantry Battalion based in Finner Camp were forced to seek shelter in protected UNIFIL areas during the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah during their deployment. Independent Senator and security analyst Tom Clonan says soldiers' families make a sacrifice.
It's a very emotional moment, when you touch down in Dublin, you're back in Ireland, particularly after an operationally busy tour. You're seeing children that have moved on 6 months, family members, people will have had bereavements during that period. You can never underestimate the sacrifice that Defence Forces families make for our United Nations service in the cause of peace.
Weather now, after a dry start with some sunny spells, it will become cloudy and wet with outbreaks of rain or drizzle through the afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures of 14 or 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Is é an dáta deire le híceocht a dhéanamh nó le sonraí an chórta leiis a chuirsteach ar chóirseach amperscoile ar líne de chud bus éireann ná de híine an séú meitheamh. Dúnigh an tóirseach ar fad trí seachtaí tar éis an dáta seo. Chun íceocht a dhéanamh nó chun sonraí an chórta leiis a chuirsteach téchuig bus éireann pancaí tal/school transport. Ní léon athru ar phrais na ticed de scolbhliaon fiche cuaig fiche sé, má diontar iartas déanach beidir nach mai ticed amperscoile ar fáil le haid de linne. Tionscnimh de chud rialtas na hÉireann.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio for this Friday, the 23rd of May, 25. It is 5 minutes past 9 and our lines are open for you. We have our Friday panel. I'll introduce them to you very shortly. We want you involved in the conversation throughout the hour and beyond, of course. 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and text to that number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Now, before I introduce the panel, I just want to reference that story. It does very much look like now that Letterkenny is missing out on a surgical hub. Obviously, there's been a campaign for years to have it located in Letterkenny. I interviewed the health minister on this issue a few weeks ago when she was in Letterkenny, and we knew for a fact that the HSE had already made their decision in relation to the surgical hub, that it would be located in Sligo. She said on the record that decision had not yet been made and that Letterkenny was still in the running. But my understanding is there was a meeting this week, and it was referenced there, I think, by Deputy Pádraig McLaughlin, where elected reps were told that the decision had been made, and in fact that surgical hub was to be located in Sligo. And I also understand from that meeting that they were told because of population. Now, I'm not sure if they're using figures whereby Donegal people have to travel down for ENT down in Sligo, whatever it might be, and massaging figures that way to justify it. If it's based on pure population, what Sligo is not far off half of our population. There is, of course, something of a Lahey line where a chunk of that population of South Donegal do attend ordinarily Sligo University Hospital. But the logic is that decision has been made due to population. But obviously the raw figures suggest that doesn't make any sense. There is potentially a window of opportunity because the government have yet to sign off on that, I do believe. What I don't understand is that there was an awful lot of politicians in that meeting and no one's talked about it yet. We did hear from Pádraig McLaughlin this morning, but it hasn't been raised in the Dáil. There's been no press releases as far as I can see, and no one seems to be kicking up a stink about it. But anyway, we shall raise it directly with the Health Minister. We're attempting to do that right now and to try and get some clarity on that situation. India Kennedy, Campaigns and Events Director, Ogra Fianna Fáil. Good morning to you, India. Great to have you back on the show. How are you keeping?
I'm good, Greg. How are you keeping?
I'm doing good. Richard Logue's Project Manager in Transport London. Hi, Richard. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, everyone.
And we have Grania Hines, member of Letterkenny Active Retirement. Hi, Grania.
Yeah, good morning to everybody.
You're looking fabulous as always, Grania. I mean, obviously this wasn't scheduled for discussion, Grania, but to learn that the surgical hub's to be located in Sligo, I don't begrudge Sligo that. If you're living in South Donegal, it's probably good news, potentially. But it just feels like another example of Letterkenny University Hospital being left behind, Grania. You know, I mean, we don't all know the specifics, but that's the straight up takeaway.
Yeah, I think it's a shocking decision. And I mean, it's many years since I brought it up at the Older People's Council meeting that Letterkenny should have been made a level 4 hospital. I think that is the crux of the problem, and nobody is facing up to it. And I think all the politicians should get together on this. And I think it is something we do have to fight. We have already been fighting for eye injections to take place in Letterkenny. The consultants in Sligo are willing to come up, but Letterkenny haven't provided the theatres for them. So I think there's a lot of things to be done and a lot of simple, communication with each other. And I think we do have to try and now stop this thing about the surgical. I think we have to the public have to get behind it as well. And I think it's up to the politicians now to do their work, to get together and do something.
I kind of get a sense that the situation is getting to a point in Letterkenny University Hospital that we might see another sort of situation like we saw the last time where the consultants come out and speak out about the hospital being in crisis. As far as I can determine, nothing has improved since then. And in fact, the situation may have worsened still. So there is going to come a point, I think, where the Donegal public are going to be asked, you know, how important is this hospital to you, and what are you prepared to do in terms of campaigning to have it recognised as the hospital that it is. And I just wonder, will people be found wanting when maybe they're asked to go out onto the streets on this issue? It's an open-ended one. All right, Richard Logue, just a quick one on that. Obviously, you have a strong Donegal interest. This surgical hub was seen as being critical, really, to health services in Letterkenny. And it just looks like this county has been overlooked again, not begrudging Sligo a facility, but there is a strong argument for two such facilities.
I think the big issue we have, and this happens time and time again in the state, is that our politicians allow the civil servants to dictate policy rather than the politicians dictating the policy back to the civil servants. I'll give you a quick example. I was down in Leinster House on Tuesday meeting with one of the senators, and he made a reference to a bunch of campaigners down in Galway looking for a light rail system, getting a lot of support from the politicians. They came away from their meetings with the politicians feeling very happy that the politicians agreed with everything they asked for. But then this particular senator suggested that they should meet with a senior civil servant in the Department of Transport, at which the civil servant completely demolished what they were asking for and said it's never going to happen. And in this particular case, in Letterkenny University Hospital, it really is down to our TDs not to take, no, you can't do that, Minister, from the civil servants, and actually stand up for what we want in Donegal, because, I mean, longer term, it makes no sense to keep the unit away from Letterkenny because we're looking to expand population in the county, and we need to make sure that there's sufficient provision for people.
But the system doesn't
you're right,
really
people
work
should be
like
out in the streets about this, frankly.
And you know, it's going to come to a head shortly. But, you know, like we have two government TDs in Charlie McConalogue and Pat the Cope Gallagher. I'm not sure how it works, but are they going to stand up in the Dáil and scream blue murder as it relates to the lack of investment in Letterkenny University Hospital? It's critical down there. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
But they do.
Pádraig McLaughlin, Pierce Doherty, they're opposition, right? So, you know, they might say something. They might bring it up. But this is something that needs to be brought up every single week. I mean, there are people dying every single week. You know.
But as I say, we need the politicians to direct the civil servants. This is a long-held belief of mine, my campaigning side.
I get you, but I just really don't think that's how it works. And the more you dig, the more you realise that just simply doesn't seem to be the case, that the tail wags the dog, if that's the phrase. India Kennedy, you're, if you're still based where I believe you to be based, you're sort of right on the line. You know, is it Letterkenny? Is it Sligo? And I'll be in the same boat as a near neighbour of yours. You know, but I mean, obviously is a huge population, you know, north of Lahi that could make a very strong argument for a surgical hub and, you know, further investment in the hospital.
Side when I've been to Letterkenny, but at the moment my primary hospital is Letterkenny. I get autoimmune treatment over there every second Friday, so my hospital is Letterkenny. But I mean, I've sat in A&E for 26 hours. I've sat in the back of an ambulance for 3 hours waiting to get into A&E. It is shocking. It is a first world country with a third world healthcare system, and Letterkenny is at the worst it can ever be. It's not the staff's fault because the staff are absolutely amazing. It's definitely, I don't know if it's a funding issue or if it's just lack of communication between the politicians and the people in Letterkenny, but something needs to be done. And I think this surgical hub not being allocated to Letterkenny is just another example of how Donegal people are being forgotten in every aspect. But I think at the moment now, the government that we have, the likes of Pat the Cope, Charles Ward and Charlie McConalogue, I think having them in the Dáil and having them so vocal about it, I do think that I hope that in the next 5 years something will be done more.
But you say about them being vocal about it. I haven't heard anything, India, and I've heard very little from any of the five. Just in case anyone for a minute thinks that I'm pulling up Fianna Fáil on this, I am not. I don't care who the politicians are, right? But they should stand up one after the other and highlight the crisis at Letterkenny University Hospital, that they know what's going on, and they know how complicated it is to fix it. And it's not going to be fixed by Sean Murphy. It's not going to be fixed by Cialta. This needs to be seen as a special case on a national stage, and we need our elected TDs. If you want to bring money into it, 200k a year, whatever it might be, we need them to stand with the people and highlight this on the biggest stage of them all, politically, which is the Dáil.
I don't think funding's an issue. I think that the problem is the money. They're just throwing money aimlessly at the problem as if it's going to fix it. It's not money that's going to fix it. It's sitting down at a table with nurses, with doctors, with healthcare assistants, and with the management. Everybody together, not just one representative from Letterkenny and 6 from Dublin. Everybody needs to sit down together. Everybody needs to say, right, this is the problem. It's not funding. It's facilities that we need.
Yeah, it is. But there is an issue in terms of, there's a complex issues that we can't get into now, but this needs to go right to the very top, where decisions are made in terms of, training and allocations and encouragement and incentives, and making Letterkenny a more attractive place to come, not just to work, but to sell it with the work-life balance, etc. This is not something...
It'll never, sorry Greg, it'll never be attractive to people to come and work in Letterkenny when we look at the conditions. The consultants will not come here because the theatres aren't up, there are not enough theatre time for them. And that's one of the cruxes of the problem. You start at look at the problem and you go 1, 2, A, B, C, D and solve it. And that's one of the things they have to do. The hospital has to be upgraded. There has to be more theatres. Otherwise, you're not going to attract adequate staff.
Yeah, okay. Listen, I'm going to take a quick break because I don't want to stack these up, because I want to make sure we've plenty of time to talk about the issues that we have to talk about. We're returning to local issues shortly, but we are going to talk about the situation in Gaza, which is local. I mean, you can't sort of silo yourself away and pretend that what's happening over there isn't in some way a global problem, leading to it being a local problem, so to speak. That after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
This Friday is Guide Dog Day. At Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind, we need your support to change more lives. Visit guidedogs.ie to donate, join a Take the Lead walk, or be in with a chance to have dinner with Roy Keane. Guide Dog Day, sponsored by Park to Travel.
Celebrate your love at the award-winning Villa Rose Hotel and Spa Ballybuffet. The elegant Cadbury Suite hosts up to 300 guests with a private garden and romantic stone cottage for unforgettable wedding photos. Experience exceptional service that turns your dream wedding into reality. Visit villarose.ie to start planning.
Try more alfresco flavours for less with Lidl Plus. Cue the barbecue with fish, Board B approved meats or poultry, 3 for €9. Serve the Spud-tacular with deluxe baby potatoes, 43% off, now 79¢. Scan your Lidl Plus app and enjoy more for less when you go full Lidl this summer.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Volkswagen. Happy birthday to you.
It's the Volkswagen 75th birthday sales event this May 19th to 24th. Celebrate a big birthday for us with big savings for you. Enjoy competitive finance and APR for a limited time only. Visit your local dealer or search Volkswagen.ie. T's and C's apply. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Order your 252 with Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny. See the full range at connellys.ie. Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
The time's just approaching 20 past 9. So as I said, we're going to be constantly working on this story as it relates to the surgical hub, and we have a good relationship with the new Minister for Health, I would hope. She's not available this morning, of course, at very short notice. But word from her department is that they currently have no business plan from the HSE in relation to the surgical hub. So what we have a situation is that we have a meeting of hospital staff, elected representatives, and they're being told by a senior HSE official that the decision has been made for the surgical hub to be located in Sligo. And we have now politicians today reacting to that news. But at the same time, we have the Minister for Health, the very head of that department, who says they've not received any business plan from the HSE in relation to the location of this surgical hub, and that there's nothing at the moment on the Minister's desk to consider. Now, just before I move on, Richard, that pretty much talks to exactly what you've just said. We're reacting to news that we all know, and the Minister doesn't even have it on her desk to sign off on it one way or other.
Exactly.
I think that sums everything up.
Been pedantic here, frankly. So, obviously there's what she is talking about here, I would expect, is that she hasn't seen a formal proposal from the HSE. She will be no doubt aware, because I'm no doubt she reads the papers and listens to radio and TV. But, being pedantic, she hasn't seen a formal proposal. But we know from what's been said already out in the public domain what's happening. But she's just going to say, well, I haven't seen the formal proposal, therefore I can't comment. And legally, she's correct about that.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's wrong, but at the same time, I'm not saying the door is open on this, but it's ajar. And if the argument, population argument, doesn't hold up, you'd expect the very top of the HSE to pull that up. So let's see. Okay, moving on. The head of the UN's Human Rights Office in Palestine says the lack of humanitarian aid entering Gaza has left the enclave in the worst period in the past 19 months of war. Ajif Sungay says that the level of aid entering was wholly inadequate, and the arrival of a few hundred trucks to support a population of 2.2 million people was nothing to rejoice about. Yesterday, the Palestinian health minister said 29 children and elderly people had died from starvation-related deaths in Gaza in recent days, and that many thousands more were at risk. Since the breaking down of the ceasefire, in excess of 3,000 people have been bombed or shot. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Keir Starmer is on the wrong side of humanity. This after he called for an end to the war in Gaza. Netanyahu has posted a video in English on social media attacking the leaders of UK, France and Canada for criticising Israel's approach to Gaza. Well, firstly, I'll start with you on this one, Richard. Do you oppose the Israeli approach? And if so, what do you think might end this slaughter of the innocents? As well as, obviously they're trying to eliminate Hamas, okay, but at what cost? What might end it?
I think the only thing to really end the entire situation is for the Israeli government to go back to where we were, and this is going back over 20 years, where we had the original two-state solution on the table. As John Taylor, the unionist MP, would have said, every dog on the road knows where the whole thing is going. At the moment, the current Israeli government, who I utterly oppose, are just in a scorched earth policy. They're destroying their reputation. When you have a moderate politician like Keir Starmer calling the Israeli government out, they ought to be listening rather than putting in sort of pretty frankly childish responses. But we will not resolve this issue until there is a proper and justifiable peace settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians.
But that's where you believe we need to go. Where we're at the moment is that Netanyahu has said Israel will take over all of Gaza, occupy all of Gaza, and allow minimum food aid in. So that's where we're at right now.
That's a fundamental mistake the Israelis are making, because we've seen how in the situation in Northern Ireland, when during 1971, when the British tried to suppress the nationalist population in Derry, where did that lead them to? It just led to a further escalation of the conflict. And the Israelis have clearly not learned any lessons from that. But it is, I think Starmer is right to call them out. I think the Irish government is right to call them out. But I have to stress that, I'm very much a supporter of the Palestinian cause, but I am not one of these people who's calling for likewise the destruction of the state of Israel either. I think the only workable solution is that at some point we hope that there is a a moderate Israeli government in place. And by the way, an awful lot of Israelis utterly oppose the Netanyahu government.
But at what
as
cost
well.
until that happens? That's the problem. If that might happen eventually, but at what cost in terms of starvation? I mean, even imagine if it ended now, the emotional state of the people of Israel. Like even people talk of post-traumatic stress. Can you imagine even if it ended right now, the impact that this is going to have on that population?
It's mind-boggling. It's an absolute disaster. I mean, we have to say, as well at the same time, where Hamas started off on October the 7th, massacring people in Israel. And, Hamas are not the good guys either. There's no good guys or bad guys.
There's opposition to Hamas in Gaza the same way there's opposition to the Netanyahu government in Israel.
Well, there is, but, we're seeing a very controlled narrative in the media at the moment.
Grania?
Yeah, well, I think it's just absolutely shocking. And half the population of Palestine are children at the moment. And so it's just mass destruction on the human race. And I don't know how we can solve it. I agree that there has to be a two-state solution. Like, according to Netanyahu and seemingly the US government, might is always right. And I don't think that's, that is a terrible thing.
We saw how that even happened on our own doorstep. It never worked.
It will not work. And that population will grow up and there'll always be Palestinians. You cannot eradicate a whole population and a whole culture and a whole people. So it is absolutely stupid because there would be no peace in Israel if there's no peace in Palestine.
But we have, the words from Keir Starmer are potentially a welcome intervention, but we do know recently that they are supporting Israel in the way that matters to Israel, i.e., bombs and what have you. The United States continue to support them in that regard. It's not unlike the Ukrainian situation. They couldn't continue to what they are doing without international support. And we can't sort of distance ourselves from the fact that Shannon's being used on a regular, but also our near neighbours, the UK and the United States and others, are still supporting Israel in the way that matters, i.e., the weapons used to do exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, but it's an industry in America. It's one of the biggest industries there are, and you have a huge lobby of people producing these weapons. So, all of that comes into it. But I think people need to grow up, and we all need to, we need to get together and object. Like, we're all accepting it. Like, the countries are afraid of what might happen to us if we oppose the US. And I mean, we have to admit that we are weak and we're not being strong, and we are on the right side of history. Like, Netanyahu is a complete and utter idiot and a very evil person in my eyes, because and if you look at the US, I think the media in the US do not portray the terrible things that are happening adequately. Otherwise, I don't think they as a people would accept it either. Like, you had him producing all that rubbish to the South African president. Maybe somebody should start sending pictures of what's happening in Gaza into the White House.
Well, some of the stuff that was presented in is demonstrably true. Maybe not quite as far as Trump framed it, but anyway, we'll stick with Gaza just for the moment. India, it is really quite hard to believe, to imagine it's happening. I tried to put myself in the position where, let's say, the 26 counties and the 6 counties, whereby we would all get on with our day-to-day life in the 26 counties, whilst the entire population of Northern Ireland is herded into Belfast and bombed daily. And how would you just go about your everyday life? But that seems to be what's happening in the Middle East. Well, not in the Middle East, but it will in the Middle East, yeah.
It is it's tragic. And I mean, as Grania said, there is immense human suffering that's taking place in Gaza. And as always, it's the ordinary people that are put into extraordinary situations. And they're always at the forefront. They're always the ones that are used as bargaining chips. As Grania said, they need to pull the funding. They need to stop funding wars, and they need to stop funding bombs and guns. I think the only way that it's going to be solved is if Netanyahu and all the players in this war sit down together and say, right, the two-state solution is the only way that this is going to stop. But other countries, like obviously Micheál Martin and the other leaders of other countries have signed a treaty calling for the end to Gaza, or to the war in Gaza, sorry. And I think that needs to be more firm. I think there needs to be boycotts, and it needs to be shown that there are people dying on a daily basis. There are children starving. There are generations that are being wiped out. I think the role of the media, again, as Grania said, has a huge part to play in this. At the beginning of October 7th, the elections were on in the US, and that took all the media's attention. And I think that shows we as a society are so kind of numb maybe towards, because we're so used to seeing them. And it does show as well that the media is very selective in what they show.
The thing is though, it has to be said, not defending the media, because I actually don't disagree, but you know, Israel does not allow the media into Gaza.
So we don't actually know.
No, and the only official information in terms of deaths coming from Gaza is the Hamas-run health agency, which obviously then is instantly discredited. And then, of course, any criticism of Israel whatsoever is labelled as anti-Semitism or anti-Jew. So, you know, there is a battle of the narrative going on there as well. Mm-hmm. It's not just cut and dry. You know, I mean, I'm seeing pictures of skeletal 3-year-olds on the front of the papers, and it doesn't, you know, it's not shifting the dial. You know, what else can be done?
I think
the only thing the media can do is actually full out go after the Israeli government. That's the only thing
it's shifting the dial for us and for the ordinary people, but it's not shifting the dial for people that can make the change. And I think that's what needs to be done. The people that can make the change and can enact the change need to say, this is serious. We need to sit down. We need to get this ended, because, as you said, if the war stopped now, the psychological damage of the people of Gaza is immense.
But just in relation to the news cycle, right? Because we had a very significant, and I'll put this to you, Richard, we had a very significant intervention from the Keir Starmer, as I mentioned, leaders from France and Canada. And it was gaining some traction in the headlines. And then we had that terrible tragedy of the 2 people being shot in America, 2 Jewish people. And then, of course, following straight after that, we had the comments from Benjamin Netanyahu. And all of a sudden, the entire focus has switched. It's switched. So the momentum that may have been made by these leaders calling out the Israeli government because of those shootings and because of Netanyahu's statement now, that has been erased almost, if you know what I mean. So there is a PR battle ongoing here as well.
Oh, there's totally a PR battle going on. I was very much welcomed the intervention by Starmer and by Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, and President Macron, because these guys are significant players. And as has been mentioned, yes, there is, you know, significant amounts of military spend for Israel out of those countries. So I have no doubt that Netanyahu was quite stung by that, because he would have regarded UK, Canada, and France as close allies. They all have significant Jewish populations, and so I think Netanyahu has been stung by that. And that shooting, a young couple about to get married in Washington, absolutely horrendous. That sort of nonsense doesn't advance the cause of Palestinian nationalism. If anything, it pushes it back.
Well, we've
quite
seen
the opposite.
that. We've actually seen to the point whereby, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to those that died, that it's been called a false flag. Effectively, it has played so well into Israel's hands that some are suggesting that it is a false flag event. I'm not suggesting that for a second. Don't get me wrong.
Who knows? Because we know the entire situation is so murky, and I draw complete parallels between the situation we had on our own island for 30 years and the resolution to the Northern Ireland conflict. As John Hume said, you've just got to talk. And if we can do all we can on the sidelines here in Ireland to, protest and do all of that sort of stuff. Frankly, it won't register in the bigger scheme of things. I'm speaking to you here from my house in London, but I do spend, as you know, Greg, a lot of time in Donegal these days. And we need to keep the pressure on. If I were Starmer and Carney and Macron, I'd basically keep the pressure on the Israelis, regardless of whether it's on or off the news cycle because there is a bigger game to be played here. And the bigger game that needs to be played is how we actually bring stability to the Middle East. And it will not happen until there's a free and independent Palestine and a safe and secure Israel.
India, just finally on this one, unless anyone comes in on it, it's actually Benjamin Netanyahu was talking about being on the right side of history. Which is kind of ironic too, given the fact that Israel is predominantly Jewish, and we know what the Nazis did to the Jews, and then ironically, of course, Germany didn't back UK and France in this move either. You would think both Israel and Germany would be more acutely aware than anyone that we can't see a repeat of what happened last century, but. We are actually at a point where we do need to choose India, which side of history we are on, both I suppose as individuals and as nations as well, because when the truth comes out about what's been happening over there, it will be, clearly seen as a genocide.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you said, that he thinks he's on the right side of history. There are leaders of some of the most powerful countries in the world that think that they're doing so much for so many people, and they are destroying their countries forever. And I think that there needs to be peace talks. There needs, as Richard says, the only way we can do this is we sit down and talk. And once Gaza is free, I think that things will start to regenerate. But it is absolutely devastating. And for him to say that he's on the right side of history just shows how numb he is and how...
He's a politician and he wants to score points.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
but
not
let's
all
also
politicians
just
are like that.
also
But I just think,
of course. But we also just have to remember that it's not that long ago that President Donald Trump created an AI video of him in a resort in Gaza sipping cocktails by the pool. That's whilst
that's
this
what I
was
mean.
going on. It's almost
Trump's a
remarkable.
property developer. He'll be doing it for his own pockets.
All right.
But the fact that you have world leaders of some of the most powerful countries in the world who believe that they're doing so much, like Donald Trump, who is he is just so far from the truth in every aspect, and he will never be the reason that Gaza will be free. And he has no intention of doing that.
Well, that's a problem because he has his view. He has his view, and JD Vance is coming behind him with a similar view. Last word to you, Grania.
Yeah, well, I think that people have to sit down and talk, and I also think the Arab neighbours of Palestine need to take a part in this with the US. This cozy meeting that Trump had with Qatar and Saudi Arabian leaders. I'm sure they brought it up, and I'm sure there is a red line there. And I think perhaps that should be investigated. And perhaps it's going to take more than the US and the Israelis to settle this. I think the rest of the world have to take a part. And I do admire France, Canada and England for their stance. And I think Germany just feel guilty about the Nazi regime, and they find it hard. They just are kind of caught in the middle.
Yeah.
And but all the countries in Europe should support what Canada and England and France are doing. And it's very important for Israel to see that the world is not approving of him, and he is not on the right side of history.
But Donald Trump was elected on America First. And whether you agree with what he does or doesn't do, that's exactly what he has done.
Yeah, but that isn't a human. It isn't. You aren't supposed to put yourself first all the time. Well, that is not what this world is about.
Yeah, but
it's about the human race, which we are all part of.
I know, and I really get where you're coming from, but almost the conversation has to be shifted out of that space because we can't rely on the human race to address things like this any longer. But though I shouldn't give up. Gran, you stay there a second. Richard Logue is with us as well. And we also have India Kennedy, a great panel as always. We'll be back after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
At Hidden Hearing, we believe you should keep hearing it all. Keep dancing. Keep celebrating. Keep laughing. Keep being you. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie and book a free hearing test today. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
Celebrate your love at Encourage Hotel, nestled in the heart of Donegal. With breathtaking views of Errigal Mountain and elegant surroundings, our venue offers the perfect setting for your special day. Experience exceptional service and create unforgettable memories. Discover more at encouragehotel.com.
At Restex Beds, we are celebrating 50 incredible years in business. And we are introducing our brand new Glenveigh mattress, comfort that's as legendary as our half-century legacy. Experience 50 years of bedding excellence at Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Restex Beds, leave the rest to us.
Loganair says, let the wee ones fly. Kids aged 11 and under go fare free this summer. Just pay the taxes. Book by the 25th of May for travel from the 1st of June 2025. Find deals at loganair.co.uk. T's and C's apply, subject to availability. Children must travel with a full fare-paying accompanying adult.
Are you a community hero? Return is championing over 3,000 community initiatives across Ireland's cities, towns and villages with our Small Town Big Difference campaign. For your chance to win €2,000 for your local community group, tell us how your initiative is making an impact in your local area with the deposit return scheme. T's and C's apply. Visit return.ie/heroes for more information.
Looking for a new car today? Go to any Nissan dealer and say you want 4K your way. Nissan's new 4K Your Way deal lets you choose €4,000 towards financing a new Nissan or €4,000 as a trade-in bonus. This offer is available on 4 Nissan models, the Qashqai, Duke, X-Trail or Aria. So if you're looking for a 252 car today, don't delay. Get 4K your way. See nissan.ie for details. Nissan. Defy ordinary. Terms and conditions apply.
Just a little update for you. Do you remember the €336,000 spent by the taxpayer for a bike shed at Leinster House? Well, the bill for the audit into the cost of the audit, the bill for it's just come in, €25,000. So we've spent €25,000 to investigate why we spent €336,000. And yet, believe it or not, we're still no closer to finding out how such a project could cost so much and who might sign off on it. To be clear, the audit, which cost €25,000, does not apportion any blame. I'm going to put that one to you, Richard, because I know you'll enjoy that one. 25K.
25K. Life turns into Father. I think Father Ted was not a comedy show, but basically a reality show and flying the wall.
We paid Deloitte €25,000, and their findings are effectively that there wasn't enough oversight into the spend, but no one's responsible.
Like I say, you couldn't make it up, could you? And we have, the problem we've got major infrastructural deficits in this country. And, we spend all that time, like with Metrolink, for instance, in Dublin, we've spent how many millions at this stage on a project without a spade in the ground. And yet, they've awarded themselves a rather nice gold-plated bike shed and with a very soft little audit.
Well, you add in the cost of the audit now, it's €10,000 per slot for bikes. So that's not a great return, Indy, is it? I think Granny's just been reminded how crap laptop batteries are. We'll get to Granny in a sec. You batter away there, Granny. I'll come to you in a moment.
Yeah, I have to put low
you take your time. I'll come back to you. I'm only being
come back to me. Yeah.
India, it's just really is quite sickening. 25 grand to find out that there was not enough oversight of the 336 grand, but no one's responsible.
Yeah, I think it's just another example of how money is just thrown away willy-nilly, where there could be adequate funding provided for issues like the surgical hub in Letterkenny, and it's not. I think the bike shed was just such an embarrassing moment for the government, and it shouldn't have happened. Before we move away from Gaza, sorry if you don't mind, my friend of mine, Evan Gallagher, is doing a cross-country climb-up Sleep League on Saturday with his friend Doran to raise money for Doctors Against Borders, who are doing amazing work on the ground in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a GoFundMe page on his Facebook and Instagram, and you can donate anything there.
Will you fire us the link over in relation to that, India, and we can share it on our socials?
Thank you.
Because it's easier to track that way. Okay, I'm going to take this last break before we come back with another topic from our panel.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. This Sunday, there's Mike Denver and his band, dancing from 9 till 11, admission €20. Doors open from 8, with support artist from 8:15. And there's music afterwards in McGettigan's Bar. Accommodation packages available. That's this Sunday, Mike Denver at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
The school holidays are almost here, making it the ideal time to start your child's orthodontic journey at Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics in Letterkenny or Donegal Town. Book a summer appointment today and get ahead for September, with braces, aligners and expert care all under one roof. Book now by calling Blue Poppy on 074 97 40404.
Concern over future of farm schemes. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, EU plans to scrap ring-fence cap budget could see ANC, acres and suckler schemes axed. Cattle exports surge by 20%. Find out how your co-op performed in our milk price review. Department pays Teagasc €100,000 in office rent. How an enduring power of attorney could protect your farm. Plus, win a Yamaha quad. Collect 3 tokens to enter. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
I'm Fionnuala Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, racing across the country to keep up with NBI's fibre rollout. Over 50 broadband providers are using NBI's network to bring high-speed fibre broadband to homes across Ireland. So from Ballyliffin to Ballybuffet, homeowners can pick whatever package suits their needs and still get all the benefits of rural Ireland's dedicated fibre broadband network. Connect at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Another connection. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have worn heels.
Join Paul McDevitt and the Highland Radio Whiteside broadcast team live from Hidden Hearing, Pearse Road, Letterkenny this Saturday between 12 and 2 p.m. Celebrating 15 years in business. Ireland's leading healthcare provider, Hidden Hearing, has a long-standing reputation for exceptional service. Come meet the team, enjoy some refreshments, win a prize. Plus, there's a special appearance by Donegal's very own Daniel O'Donnell. It's all happening this Saturday. Come along and join in the fun and celebrate with Hidden Hearing and Highland Radio. Live on location in Letterkenny this Saturday from 12 till 2 p.m.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Right, so after that amazing spell of weather today, it turns a little, and we're going to see it becoming more cloudy and wet with outbreaks of rain or drizzle moving eastwards through the afternoon and evening. There'll be mist and hill fog too, highest temperatures of 14 to 15 degrees, and next week it's going to be back to sort of weather we'd kind of expect, but there is some talk of high pressure coming back at the start of June. There's a list of stuff you could do just every single week of you couldn't believe it or you couldn't make it up. Here's one. We're not going to talk about it. 90% of the plastic bottles that we return are transported to Europe. Their carbon footprint actually increases further. Can you believe that? Even when we have a place in Monaghan that can recycle it, we ship it 90%. 9 out of 10 of your bottles end up getting on an airplane or a slow boat to Germany. Anyway, a Mayo Council official this week suggested a boycott of holiday homes in response to the housing crisis. Director of Services for Housing and Roads at Mayo County Council, Tom Gilligan, said he was not trying to demonise holiday homeowners, but added all options needed to be examined. Some of these proposals were effectively turning your back on these people in your community, refusing to engage with them, and a public campaign to sort of chase them out of the place. Since then, Mayo County Council distanced themselves with claims the email was to trigger internal discussion. Now, I will say this is my opinion. It seems even more concerning that these types of conversations are happening behind closed doors amongst decision makers. The curtain's been pulled back a little bit. But anyway, be that as it may, is there any merit in these suggestions? With a view to returning these holiday homes to locals. Grania, I'll start with you. I don't think I've started with you for a while.
Well, I think I always thought that there was far too many holiday homes allowed in the one area, and they were sort of barren places. Like, nobody bothers about their garden. There's no lights on. There's no children. Like, you take Dunfanaghy, a small town like that. There's only about 100 children in the primary schools. There's 2 primary schools. And yet you look at the population in the summer when all those people are there. So it does destroy a rural community, too many. And I don't blame the people with the holiday homes. I blame the planners. Now, Donegal County Council have stepped up, and at the moment, if you're looking for planning permission, there are conditions attached that the house has to be for a resident or for long-term renting. And I admire them for that. But will they follow through on it?
But just in relation to Dunfanaghy, for an example, in and of itself, of course, it's a beautiful, vibrant community. But if it wasn't for tourism, would there be hotels? Would there be very busy restaurants? Would there be new bars? Would the local golf club be doing so well? Would the overflow into the Shandon be as much? Yeah,
but there are other ways of accommodating tourists. Like in the old days, people made their yearly income from people coming in, staying with them, families. It was a much nicer arrangement. Now, I'm not against them, but I think they were planned badly. They weren't scattered among the community. They were all put in one
Grania,
place.
Sorry to cut across, and I don't mean to be ignorant, but we are where we are, right? So we can't undo.
We are where we are.
We can't undo planning. So, and this was really for the current crop of houses that are there. This Mayo official said, "Do you believe there's any merit to sort of trying to compel or even compulsorily take these holiday homes?"
No, I do not. I definitely do not. But I think perhaps they could offer a carrot that if you let it for long term, maybe you don't pay the 50% tax on your income. Things like that might incentivize people, and maybe give a sort of a donation towards if a local person wants to buy the house and they're a family. Well, maybe the government would give them let them avail of that grant. It might. A lot of people in these holiday homes are now getting older and they wouldn't mind maybe selling them. So I think if they got a decent offer, and the other people, if they were incentivized by tax, it could help. We just have to look at solutions. We have to forget about the past.
Or could we not just allow people?
You can take them away from people.
Of course, but why not just allow people to enjoy their hard-earned money by having a holiday home? Why?
No, I'm not saying they shouldn't have them, but if it destroys, you have to look at the common good as well. I mean, I'm not a communist like one of your somebody you had on yesterday. But I agree with some of his points. It does impact on the local community. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it does help. A lot of people make money. But on village life, on small
you believe there needs to be a balance. Okay, but there has to be. But I mean, if we are going to do that, though, there has to be alternative action plans for these towns. Because if you were to take that tourism spend or holiday home spend out, something has to replace it, because there'd be a lot of jobs and businesses at stake, I would imagine. India Kennedy, what's your view?
I think that holiday homes generate a lot of business into the economy, especially in areas like our own doorstep, Greg, like in Lahi and in Monasoul, in Rasnowla, especially in North Donegal, the likes of Dunfanaghy. And I think that turning their backs on them just because they're trying to make a profit out of something that they worked hard to buy and something that they're making a business of, I think that's really disheartening, and it's just really unfair for them. I think, as Grania said, there could be a possible deal done, but I think maybe if houses were sublet for the winter months and used as holiday homes in the summer months, at least the holidays are being used.
This is going to be a radical suggestion. Rather than fiddling around with private property, how about we build more social, affordable homes? Rather than blaming the private sector or seeking to eke out their property, let's build public homes.
Yeah, but I think the problem is, like, I mean, in Donegal town, there is houses going up left, right and centre, and it's fantastic to see. It's great to see so many social houses being built. But where's the facilities for these people? It's great put up houses left, right and centre, but there needs to be facilities for the people and the families that are moving to these houses, because at the moment, there's plenty of houses, there's no doctor appointments, there's no healthcare appointments, there's no more facilities, and there's no more school places. So by all means, put up houses everywhere. Enjoy your holiday homes, put up social houses, but make sure there's facilities for these social houses.
Yeah, that's a good point for all the houses, yeah. Richard, I wasn't really quite sure which angle you'd come at that till you put your thumb up, but go on. Are you muted, Richard? Schoolboy error. Yes, here we go. No, maybe you're not. Maybe we've just
Unmuted.
lost you.
Can you hear me
Yay!
now?
Go ahead, Richard. Yes.
Excellent. All right. So, a couple of things. I suppose I better declare my interest in that I'm actually a part-time resident now of Donegal. I've been in Moville for the last year or so, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Brilliant town. Trying to get myself involved in a few community aspects as well. So I'm aiming to be back home 1 week a month, and that's working out so far so good. So I guess I have some skin in the game technically as a holiday homeowner.
I'm not sure you are really, but go on ahead.
I'm trying to take an active role in the community, and I'm there for the whole year, not just for the summer. Regarding that comment from the official in Mayo, I think he's covering up for his potentially for his own their own failings. And you basically preempted what I was about to say, is the issue isn't the holiday homes. And as India has rightly said, places like Dunfanaghy and all of that benefit because, you know, we've got people who are coming back to Donegal, putting significant sums of money back into the economy and actually keep making places vibrant. So to suggest a boycott of holiday home owners is nothing short of an absolute and total disgrace. And it angered me when I read that. Right?
Did it feel personal? Did it feel personal that someone was
very
effectively
personal.
calling on? So if you landed in Moville, though I don't see you as a holiday maker, but if you landed in Moville, that, you know, people would turn their back on you effectively.
Well, you know, that's irresponsible. And frankly, if that official had spoken that in the UK under the Nolan principles, he would have been sacked. So even if it was an internal email, and actually it was good that it came out, but obviously if that's the kind of discussions, and I hope to God they don't have those kind of discussions internally in Donegal County Council, but I think the real issue is that we need more social housing. Now we're fortunate in a way in that Donegal probably has the relatively low property prices compared to the rest of the state, and that's really down to because of historically with the economy in Donegal. But we aren't building enough social housing. And part of the driver for emigration for an awful lot of young people is the fact that they can't afford to even rent or buy a place of their own. So, and India, your point about the social housing is spot on. It isn't enough just to build an estate of houses out in a field a mile outside the town. You do have to make sure there's adequate schools, adequate transport, adequate services and all of that in order to make it all viable as well.
It is quite. I mean, the average new let rents in and around Lahey, €1,200-1,300. I never thought you would see a situation whereby, you know, a modest 3-bed house in and around Lahey would be €1,200 or €1,300 a month. It's unbelievable stuff, Indy, isn't it?
Yeah, and not being hateful to the people of Lahey, but it's not exactly a booming town. It's only a small
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to
village.
cut you off here.
Yeah, but I think...
No, you're right.
And Carrick West are a different ballgame. They're great fun.
Listen, India, it's been lovely having you on the show again. Thank you so very much indeed. India Kennedy, Campaigns and Events Director, Ogra Fianna Fáil. Chat to you really soon. Thanks so much indeed. I've let Richard go. I'm going to let Richard back in to say goodbye. I feel bad. Grania Hines, thank you very much indeed. Take care of yourself.
Yes, I have a lot more to say. But
I know, but we'll get you back again to say that. Richard, I'm not sure if you're there. I cut you off. I'm just saying goodbye. I was just saying goodbye. I cut you off by accident. Okay. You don't need to switch your mic on. I just felt terribly ignorant. Take care of yourself, Richard. Thank you very much indeed. Right back with more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Unmissable meat deals at Doherty Super Value Carndonagh. 50% off pork rack with Alabama rub, 25% off sirloin steak, and 33% off round roast. Big flavour, low prices. Shop your butcher's counter and save today at Doherty Super Value Carndonagh.
That's the Clear Mobile Parrot. He knows a good thing when he hears it, because it's only
$12.99.
Yes, only $12.99 for unlimited 5G data and calls. Yes, there are texts, and that's why he's our top salesperson. Parrot.
$12.99.
Clear Mobile. Keep it clear. Powered by Vodafone.
$12.99.
Activation fee €12.99. 19 gigabytes UK and EU roaming data. For terms, see clearmobile.ie/terms.
New this week in Home Store and more. All bath mats are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price bath mats are gone, they're gone. Also, all Hotel Collection duvet sets are still all half price. And all dinnerware sets are still all 33% off. But when all the half-price hotel collection duvet sets and all the 33% off dinnerware sets are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Imlína caithfidh gach agriocht bhfuil chuige fustaí nó níos mó aici léargas a thabhairt ar an difriocht fá idir fíor agus maná. Is é sin an bhar na fá idir na hinsciní. Má tá léargas agan orthaí, is féidir an tuairt faoin na laidú. Mar sin, má sa seomí bauard, seomí de spántais, seomí tosaigh, seomí stóris, nó an wifaoin spéir atá se bheith gobar. Má tá fuair an chuige duine nó níos mó agah, caithfidh sibh é thuairisciú faoin trochadú lá de bhí na saona. Léirmí an difriocht chun difriocht a dhéanamh. Tá breis ólis ar gov.ie/gender pay gap.
It's the 2025 World Chip Sizzle Freestyle Contest, and Charlie's Chips are in the lead again. They're coming up to the finishing pan, and Charlie's Chips are the 2025 World Champions. Sourced locally, hand-cut and freshly cooked, served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish or delicious chicken, plus a great selection of gluten-free options. Open Tuesday to Saturday 12 to 8 and every Friday for breakfast from 9. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
Donegal Vintage Classic Car and Heritage Club annual car show is this Sunday 25th of May at 11 a.m. at the car park behind the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Proceeds from the event will go to aid Zach McCrossan. The sale is sponsored by Express Self-Service Laundrette, Ballyrain, Letterkenny.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. It appears a surgical hub that's set to be established in the northwest will be based in Sligo as opposed to Donegal. During a recent visit to Letterkenny University Hospital, Health Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeill stated that no decision had yet been made. However, during a meeting in recent days, the HSE Northwest confirmed that it was recommending Sligo as the preferred location based on population. A final decision has yet to be made by the HSE, and the Health Minister's office has confirmed that it has not yet received a business plan from the HSE. Donegal Deputy Patrick McLaughlin says under no circumstance can the need for a surgical hub in Letterkenny be overlooked.
Letterkenny Hospital has about 25,000 per annum every year. Sligo is about 15,000. So in other words, our hospital is 50 to 60% more busy, more demanding every single year. So there can be no justification. And what all of the public representatives who met with senior management in recent days have told them that we're not going to stand for this. We won't accept second-class citizenship for the people of Donegal.
The Taoiseach has been told that the reality of the defective concrete block crisis is that many are still being left behind. Donegal Deputy Charles Ward lobbied Simon Harris in the Dáil to extend the current defective block grant scheme to include additional buildings such as community and childcare centres. The need for a new building for the condemned Rafoe playgroup was again highlighted with the Taoiseach, confirming that the efforts on the matter are still ongoing. Deputy Ward says unless the government is forthcoming with solutions, centres impacted by defective blocks will shortly be non-existent.
If we do not address these issues, our community centres in Donegal are going to basically tumble to the ground around us within the next 5 years. So I would ask you to look into extending this scheme to include these important community buildings.
Medics in southern Gaza have compared it to a slaughterhouse because of the divorces. Over 29 children and elderly people have reportedly died from starvation in the enclave in the recent days. Dr. Graham Groom is working in Nassar Hospital. He says it's a modern slaughter of the innocent.
It feels as though we're absolutely surrounded by people of all ages with the most horrific injuries. We have 25 patients on our list today, about a third children. Almost all of them have blast injuries, except 2 that have gunshot wounds. A blast breaks bones, it flays skin and flesh. The result is usually appalling for those who survive.
A 30-year-old man has been charged with the murder of 2 Israeli embassy workers in Washington, D.C. Elias Rodriguez from Chicago is accused of killing Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Lynn Milgram as they were leaving a museum event in the U.S. Capitol. Authorities are investigating the killings as both hate crimes against the Jewish community and terrorism. A UN spokesperson, Stefan Durack, has condemned the attack.
Nothing can justify such horrific acts. The Secretary-General reiterates his consistent condemnation of attacks against diplomatic officials and extends his sympathies to the families and loved ones of the victims and to the government of Israel.
116 home farms and businesses are without power in Moville this morning. The fault was reported just before 10 to 8. ESB are yet to give an estimated restoration time. The government is setting up a small business unit within the Department of Enterprise. It will focus on implementing an SME impact assessment on memos being brought to Cabinet. Enterprise Minister Peter Burke outlines what else the unit would do.
First of all, to support those SMEs who employ 2/3 of people right across our country. Be a key focus on 3 areas. First of all, SME tests. Secondly, in relation to the new Enterprise Hub, which we have established, it has 250 supports across 50 government departments and agencies to really help and assist our SME sector, and we want to grow that portal.
Heather Humphreys has ruled herself out of the race to be next president. Speaking to Northern Sound Radio, the former deputy leader of Fine Gael says it's time for someone new. She won't be seeking the Fine Gael nomination to run for president, and she will support Mairead McGuinness should she decide to run. Look into weather now. After a dry start with some sunny spells, it will become cloudy with wet outbreaks of rain or drizzle through the afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures of 14 or 15 degrees. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with headlines at 11 o'clock.
The obituary notice says for this Friday morning, May the 23rd. The death has taken place of Sarah Garton Churchill. Sarah Louise's remains will repose at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountaintop, Letterkenny, this evening from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Funeral service in St Columba's Parish Church, Churchill, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, followed by private cremation. The death has taken place of James Doherty, Bankhead, Tully Alley, Redcastle. James's remains are reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock funeral mass in St Columba's Church, Drung, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Funeral mass can be viewed live on stcolumbusdrung.net. Family time from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The death has occurred of Sean John O'Keefe, Glassley, Convoy. Funeral leaving from his late residence this morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Convoy at 11 o'clock. Interment in the Old Cemetery. Family time before the funeral this morning, please. And the death has occurred of Mary Shield, née O'Reilly, late of Bell Alt, Castlefin. Funeral to St Patrick's Church, Crossroads this morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Castlefin. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio.
Stopped at the side of a road. Muffled footsteps. I look over to my wing mirror. Flashing lights. A guard walking up to me. I roll down the window.
And we test for multiple drugs.
I hear my future falling to pieces.
And it stays in your system longer than you think.
And I'm disqualifying you from driving for 4 years.
And Mom said you won't be picking you up from school anymore.
And I know I could have avoided this. Never use drugs and drive. A message from the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána. Visit rsa.ie.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, into the second hour of the programme. Coming up in this hour, we're going to be talking about a exciting fundraising drive, and you'll be, quite literally actually, you'll be have our guests in studio for that. We'll also be previewing Donegal versus Tyrone tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in McCool Park. Eamon McGee's going to be joining us. So if you have any questions for Eamon in relation to Donegal, Tyrone, Galway, Derry, Mayo, anything to do with the All-Ireland Football Championship, get in touch, 086 60 25,000. We'll talk about that with him. Hi. People are so dumb. Imagine we build our homes yet pay government tax. We sell our homes, we pay the government tax. We pass away and leave our property to our loved ones and we pay government tax. All that money taking off us, and our citizens are still in poor living conditions. Another caller says, shocking that these councils are even having conversations about private property. It's private no matter how much you don't like it. There were 3 or 4 hotels in Dunfanaghy years ago that have since closed. We had the Pier Hotel, the Carrigrua and Port de Bala Hotel. The more holiday homes equals less hotels. Now we've Arnold's and the Shandon, 2 great hotels, but I take your point. Good morning, Greg. Just listening to your panel this morning regarding Letterkenny Hospital. If things continue as badly as they are, Letterkenny will end up being a cottage hospital, as the recognition and upgrading that is so badly needed is not recognised or acted on. Thanks as always, Kate. Well, you see, I'm not a politician, and maybe being a politician is more complicated than I believe it to be. But we are at the stage where now, what's the gentleman's name, Caroline, that was signed off on that surgical hub? I don't want to. What's the head guy's name? It'll come to me now in a second. I know what it is, but you know when you're not 100% sure, is it? Well, I'm not. I'll get it. So they've told politicians this week that the surgical hub, Tony Canavan, thanks Caroline, that's his name. So Tony Canavan told politicians Tony Canavan actually didn't even come up to Letterkenny University Hospital when the health minister was here, which is very unusual, it has to be said. But anyway, Tony Canavan told TDs this week that the surgical hub was being put in Sligo, and the argument being population. I imagine he got a grilling at that meeting, but that's all done behind closed doors. We don't know the ins and outs of it. Now, the health minister has told us today that the government have not yet signed off on it. So if I were a politician, I'm saying, right, there's a window there. There's a window there to go in and scream blue murder in the door and say that we've got a decision made on the ground that has yet been signed off on by the health minister, and implore her to A, agree with the justification for the surgical hub being in Sligo, or B, send it back to the HSE to review it once again. Now, that is all I would do. Nothing else. I would just be in there, in that window. It sounds like I would never be a politician, don't get me wrong. And I say maybe it's tougher than I imagine it to be. But if I were one of the 5, I'd be in there saying, look, Tony Canavan has told us this decision has been made. You've told Highland Radio that the decision has yet, that the recommendation has not yet come onto your desk. There's a window there. Let's sort it out, you know. But it mustn't be that easy, or else it'd be happening. But that's what I believe advocating for the public looks like. But anyway, as I say, it's probably more complicated. It shouldn't be, though. Greg, we work our whole life, working life, pay all our taxes. Now the people who we voted for want to steal our holiday homes from us, saying more or less to us, you've nothing. You have too much, sorry. We have the wrong people representing you, is not a thing. What I will say is that this is not a government proposal. This is a civil servant in Mayo County Council that made this suggestion. I've seen I've seen more support for this from people who you'd class as the opposition than I have for those in government. And there's probably a myriad of reasons for that. So to say that, who you voted for is trying to take your holiday homes off you is not true. And it's incredibly unlikely as well, by the way, but just to be fair. Hi, I wonder, can you read this message out on your programme? I'm a parent of a 17-year-old girl who is seeking part-time summer work in Letterkenny. I've had no luck last year, so did voluntary work. Oh, she had no luck last year, so did voluntary work. This girl's dropped her CVs in person and emailed, but no joy. Unfortunately, it seems to be the same issue this year, being unable to succeed in part-time work. Every vacancy that's available is requesting to have work experience. But how can you get experience when you're unable to get a job in the first place? Anything gladly would be accepted. 1 or 2 shifts a week is perfect, as she would benefit greatly from the work experience and development of social skills. Any help or advice would be greatly appreciated, concerned mum. So this girl's 17, mad to work. She did some voluntary work last year. I would argue put that front and centre on the CV, because this is a person that did unpaid work during their summer holidays, and I would see that as a great positive. So if that's not on the CV, certainly get it up there. And, it doesn't have to be a long CV, just a short CV saying, okay, I have no experience, but I'm incredibly willing to learn and would love the opportunity. I'm sure there's part-time work out there in Letterkenny. If any businesses are listening and they'd be interested in maybe having a chat with this 17-year-old girl who's really keen to work, doesn't have experience but mad to learn, get in touch with us and we can maybe put you in contact with this concerned mum. 08660 25000 is the WhatsApp and text number. I know people from Lifford who travel to the hospital in Roscommon. Sometimes appointments are at 9 a.m. They have to stay overnight and possibly another night depending on the type of treatment. What facilities are available in Sligo or Letterkenny Hospital? We are once again the forgotten county. Why are politicians, or what are they doing? The Gaza genocide, says a listener. This the time for all journalists, politicians and religious leaders to call it what it is. Long overdue. It's genocide. That's Dr. Joseph O'Neill in Letterkenny. We're even here in the UN using that language now, but unfortunately it's 30 or 40 or 50 or 60,000 innocent lives too late. Greg, Cialta is the problem. We will never get anything, and it's a worry that our politicians can't see that. It's not the HSE or government that's the problem. That's coming in from James. James, unfortunately, the HSE is an arm of the government, and I think if you allow the government or the HSE to insulate itself from blame by blaming Cialta, well, then that's perfect, because that's why you have a system as is. No one's responsible. And I would respectfully disagree. I think you're right. I don't think you're wrong in saying there are issues with Cialta. But the HSE is Cialta and Cialta is the HSE. And the health department and government is Cialta and the HSE, and all vice versa. So I agree with you, but I've just added a little bit if you don't mind. Why is there no outrage about the deadline for the completion of the Children's Hospital, which is set to be missed for the 15th time? Not only the deadline, but the money it's cost. They're saying it's going to open in September now. BAM, who are the contractors responsible, they've very little of the work done. They're overrunning in most areas. Why is there not an outrage? I think I think people are actually just at this point have almost given up on it. We've been bombarded with controversy after controversy after controversy. Don't forget there was an extensive campaign and so much energy exercised even in the location of the hospital. I mean, I remember sitting in this chair, God knows how many years it is ago, where people with sick children were arguing that it didn't make sense to put it where it was, put it on a greenfield site outside Dublin, etc. So that was one part of it. So you'd be exhausted fighting that battle. And then it goes ahead where it's at. And it's been such a mess that I think people are just like, well, what do you expect? Of course it's going to slip. Did you ever think it was going to open in June? So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. 08660 25,000. The surgical hub should never have been placed in Sligo. Letterkenny Hospital is systematically being taken apart by the HSE. The ED in Letterkenny is a disgrace. Doctors are leaving in their droves, as well as nurses. The only good thing is the injury unit, and it's being systematically taken apart by a lack of support of management and consultants in the ED. We need a review of the ED to be undertaken by the HSE and actually speak to staff on the front line. I think we're past that, to be honest with you. I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened. I think it needs to be bigger than the ED. I think it has to be about the staff, the profile of staff, experienced staff versus less experienced staff, the working conditions, how attractive the hospital might be to work in if you were seeking to attract people to it. You know, I think there's an awful lot going on many different levels. Sorry, I beg your pardon, I smacked the mic with my hand. So the ED isn't an issue, but I think really at this point we need the state to look at this on a bigger scale, look at the numbers, look at the facts, look at the realities, look at the KPIs, I think at this point we need, as the consultants called for last year, a very special case, a strategic plan, a national plan, not massaging around the ED or extending this ward or fiddling with that. Need to look at it and compare it to other similar-sized hospitals, Tipperary, Mayo, they'd be similar-sized, wouldn't they? And others around the country, and say, right, let's look at the profile of the staff. Let's see, full-time consultants versus locums. Let's see, what grade of staff are being employed versus other hospitals. Are other hospitals, do they have more experienced staff and less sort of trainee staff? And does Letterkenny University Hospital have a higher proportion of trainee staff and less full-time staff? Do you know that sort of way? I think it needs to be looked at just on a much grander scale. It needs to be driven by our politicians, because I can sit here and say as much as I can, but I think our politicians really need to start driving this. And I'm not sure the consultants have spoken out before. Has the situation improved? Might they speak out again? I don't know the answers to those questions, but I do know it's a very challenging situation to be working within an organisation and then to speak out against it. Okay, that's an overview of your comments so far. They're still coming in. We will carry them. So much more on the way. Let's take this break.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 23rd of May. You're playing on the yellow sheet for the daily prize of €2,000. The reference number is S5. It's game number 21. The numbers are 32, 34, 60, 12, 64, 25, 63, 86, 13, and finally 41. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Imagine a wedding venue that can be hired exclusively for you and your guests. Picture stunning views overlooking one of Donegal's most scenic beaches, an authentic country manor as your accommodation, incredible glass-fronted marquee views all day, and a team of experts who want to help you plan every step of the way. Sounds too good to be true? Not at Drumhalla House in Rathmullen. It really has to be seen to be believed. Visit drumhallahouse.ie or check out Drumhalla House on Instagram for more details.
Summer is here and so is the hottest sale of the year at Easy Living Furniture. Absolutely everything reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. The spectacular summer sale is now on at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all.
Easy Living Furniture. Luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Discover delicious food at the Donegal Festival of Food. 2 incredible days celebrating artisan produce, crafts and creativity at the stunning Oakfield Park in Raphoe. Experience live cookery demos with top celebrity chefs including Marco Pierre White, Rachel Allen and Paula McIntyre, plus outstanding local talent. Savour tempting bites from regional producers. Enjoy craft brews, browse unique handmade gifts and soak up live entertainment and fun for all ages. It's all happening Saturday the 24th and Sunday the 25th of May. Book now at oakfieldpark.com. You don't want to miss it.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Okay, welcome back to the programme, and my word, there is some testosterone in this room right now.
Handsome man here, Gregory. Handsome man.
Handsome man. We've got a whole go with them. Brendan Tiny Vaughan, how are you getting on?
Not too bad, hey.
It's nice to see you call back to Donegal. Bit of a tourist now.
Well, I'm different to you. You're a bug tourist.
I thought I'd get in there first.
He's complaining of a sore back this morning. He said,
it's not my back. My back's fine. It's my non-existent ass and thighs. Lee Gooch, hi Lee.
Hello, Gregory.
And also we've got Leslie O'Donnell. Hi Leslie, how are you getting
Greg.
on? Thank someone to bring a bit of sense to proceedings. Dennis Ferry's joining us remotely as well. Hi Dennis.
Yes boys, how are you all?
Doing good. What's the crack with you?
No, good, tearing away.
Good stuff, but you couldn't make it up the hill, no?
I couldn't make it up the hill, no.
All right, okay, that's fine. That's wow.
How could he make it? She's thousands of miles away.
Yeah, no. It looks like there's an awful lot of sunshine on the side of your face. What's going on there?
Nah, it's just Chrysler's very hot at the moment.
It's a long way from Chrysler.
He's not stuck in the ice cream shop anyway.
Aye, but
you look back too much
right, come here. Right, okay, Tanya, I'll let you start things off. You have a vintage car, and you're going to drive, and we'll find out who's driving and what have you. We're going to drive, or you're going to drive, sorry, from Letterkenny to Mallinhead, and then on to Mizenhead. And it is to raise funds for 2 great causes. So, where did this idea come from? The same mad place all the rest of them do?
These 3 lunatics see another man that's on the line there. Sure, I was talking to him at Chrysler. First of all, I was asked, Roger Murray says to me, from Creasley. He says, we need to do, would you be able to do something for little Cassie? And she's got to go to Holland for treatment and that. And I says, well, I'll think about it. And I thought away about it. Then I met that lunatic then, Dennis Ferry. I met him in Creasley then on the Monday. There was an old car run on. So I met him outside his ice cream parlour. And we were talking about, I was thinking of getting a car and doing the raffle and that. And he says, oh, why not get one, then we can drive around Ireland and the UK. I says, well, that's good enough. So I thought then, well, maybe a Mark II Cortina. But sure, that mightn't be reliable enough because a lot of old miles to do.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway then, I was looking at a car about 2 weeks previous, but never put any pass in it whatsoever. And it was Brendan Foley had it. So I says, maybe that car would be ideal for that. So we looked at it and Dennis and Leslie went and looked at it and it was spot on for what we're doing.
All right, okay. What kind of a car is it,
It's
Dennis? That's Dennis.
That's Dennis.
He's the mechanic here. Dennis, what kind of a yoke have you got then in the end?
It's a 1997 C-Class Mercedes petrol. So it's 28 years old. Right fit out car now. It's just something a bit more reliable. I know Tiny's here is kind of Mark II Cortinas and Morris Minors, but things have moved on.
They certainly have. Well, he wanted to get a Model T Ford because he used to run around in one of them when he was a cub.
When he was young,
when he was younger, he remembers that being launched, don't you? And have you gone through it? The car's in good shape. It's clean anyway. I saw it.
The car's clean and good shape, and we've serviced it and got it ready for the road. And so we're now getting a bit of a facelift, colour-wise. Tiny will go on to that. It should be good. It's nearly 4,000 kilometres the round trip we're doing. So it is. So we want the car to succeed, and it will. And then the car's been raffled off. But again, Tiny will go into that in more detail.
Leslie, what's your role in all of this? Good morning again.
Oh, Greg, I'm a kind of pilot come co-pilot and engineer and everything else in between. Myself and Dennis and Lee's coming along for the run. We're going to do the driving. So basically, it's a trip. We'll start off in Creasley, Letterkenny, Malin Head, Malin to Mizzen, and then across back up to Rosslare, cross the sea to UK, drive straight down to Land's End, and from Land's End then straight up to John O'Groats. And John O'Groats back to Letterkenny and Creasley.
It's a big run, isn't it?
It is. It's not non-stop now. There will be breaks. There'll be sleep.
You're not cycling
between.
I mean, this is you're not going to kill yourself here.
Yeah,
This
it's over a
3 years
weekend.
driving.
Over a weekend,
exactly
so it is.
right, yeah.
So
the crack will be minty at least until you get to Sligo, and then Gooch will run out of conversation.
Exactly.
I'll be sleeping in the back.
What are you going to talk about if you don't have the secret sound with you?
Don't worry, I'll have plenty to do. So it's 70 hours, so it's pretty big enough task. There's 3
It
drivers,
is.
but the boys, well, really there's 2 drivers because I'm in the mix of it and I am the worst at directions. I don't care if you
But what is your role?
I don't know. Breakfast roll. I don't know. I make the sandwiches in the back.
Entertaining /
I'm going to supply the guys with headphones and earplugs and stuff like that there. But no, I suppose we'll be linking in social media, try to create up as much awareness as we can and to raise as much funds for Zach and Cassie and have a bit of crack along the way. It's going to be great. It's one of them kind of things. It's a once in a lifetime trip. So I'm very delighted that Dennis and Leslie asked me to come on board, you know.
Brilliant stuff. I'm conscious that Dennis might have something else to do here, and there's 3 of us here. We can keep things going in the studio. Dennis, what time is it in Creasley at the moment?
2 hours ahead.
It's 2 hours ahead in Creasley. Well, you must have took the long route to Creasley, did you?
I did. I took the long way around.
Well, listen, enjoy it. Thanks very much, Dennis. I do appreciate your time, and the lads will give us much more detail. But I'll let you go on it, Dennis. Thanks very much.
Bye, folks.
All right, take care of yourself. And that mostly is because I can't be bothered trying to do this technically right. It's quite a nightmare. But Dennis is a great lad and he's having a good break, and he's going to be a big part of this. So, Brendan, the key thing here is raising funds for Cassie and Zach and raising awareness of how people can help them as well. And it is a fantastic undertaking. It leaves on the 27th of June. So how can people sort of, I suppose, support the causes and support the lads in doing something really quite significant as well?
We just got the approval today of the bank account, you know, so we're working on a barcode and working on that as well. So that'll come on later. And then we're going to have it throughout Donegal. Brown's kindly printed the raffle tickets free of charge.
Brilliant.
And we're going to have it at the Clonmany show. We'll have it down with Brian McCracken down in the shopping centre. I must go and speak to Dunn Stores down there, the new Dunn's as well. See if we can have the car there as well. Different locations throughout Donegal. Declan Boyle has given us permission to have it at any of his pubs throughout Donegal.
So the car will roll up separate to the actual trip itself.
Yeah,
and people will be
separate,
able to buy tickets to win the car effectively.
Won the car.
What are you getting done to it too? Because is it a respray? Is it a wrap?
No, Bernard down there in CBM Signs is wrapping it.
Right.
And currently his machine broke down, so we're delayed a bit on that.
No problem.
But we'll have it up here. He'll have a part of it done, enough for a couple of photographs outside Highland. And fair play to Bernard. He's doing a marvellous job on it, you know. And then we have Cal Sheridan.
There he is.
Is the car here?
He said he's doing a marvellous job.
Have you brought the car
and
with
now
you?
he's out now. Is it finished, Bernard?
Is it there? No.
Yeah.
Is the car there?
Yeah. So anyway, he's
So it's outside right now, is it?
Well timed.
Well timed, and then
it's the car's there, but it's not wrapped.
and
Give me the keys.
and Cal Sheridan then is giving us a lot of t-shirts and that for the journey for the boys and a few high-vis here and there. And most importantly, the car is sponsored by Tim Kelly. Anytime I phone Tim always says to me, he says, well, how much is this conversation going to cost me? So it did cost him a few pounds, but he's a very generous and decent man, and I can't thank him enough, and Kelly staff, Helen and Rosita and Hugo and the whole bunch for helping out, you know, because I can't do it myself, and Maureen as well, for emails and that, because when it comes to computers, I could put the hammer through them because I'm useless with them, you know.
Yeah. Gooch, you know, I mean, everyone knows you're busy with the morning show and everything else that's going on, but, you know, this is a lovely thing for you to be a part of as well. And why did you sort of say, right, okay?
Well, it was very easy to say. Dennis, he texted me and he says, do you want to get on board in this? And I said, of course, yes, please, because I love working with Leslie and Dennis. We were always to do other projects down the line. We did Noah's Bed Push some years ago, and without them, it wouldn't have been what we did achieve and the end up. So, have a good relationship. I don't see them very often, maybe a couple of times a year, but there's a bond there and it'll always be there. So when they said, yeah, would you want to come on? I said, of course I would. And it's good to help, you know, when people needs a bit of help in their life, you know.
And Leslie, I'd say it's good crack too. You've done this before too, be it pushing or driving or whatever. You know, there's a great camaraderie there, and you know you're doing something. There's a means to an end, but also you're getting out in the
we're getting
the roads.
A great buzz out of ourselves, yeah. And it's great, as Lee says, to help people in need in their time of need. So it is. And like nearly everything we have done has kind of been car orientated or driving orientated. So it's just right up our street to do something like this. And then the fact that the car is going to be raffled at the end of it, somebody's going to want a nice wee classic car out of it too. So it's a 1-1 situation for everybody, really, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And Tiny, you know, it's not dissimilar to the tractor raffles we've done in the past. People will see the car popping up here and there, and all you're asking is for them to buy a raffle ticket or donate. They could win the car itself, but also more importantly, the raising funds for Cassie Sheridan and Zach McCross.
That's correct. And as I said, Bernard's making a great job of it. And it's in the Donegal colours as well. We're going to have lots of the sponsors on it. And the amount of goodwill I've got in London so far is unbelievable. Like Patrick Boyle, MPB, he says, well, I'll give you a few thousand and I'll give you a fuel card as well while you're in the UK.
Wow.
So that makes a big difference as well. All that support. But the amount of goodwill from different companies, and I have to say it, especially any shown, always get great support whatever I do, whether it's the Vintage Day, the Donegal Hospice Calendar, whatever it is. The Donegal people do step up to the mark, and it's unbelievable. I have roughly 20,000 pulled in and a couple of phone calls in London
already,
and a man down the road here, and we're still looking for sponsors. Like down the road here, Joe Kelly, County Dry Cleaners, he's given me a generous donation as well towards it. And if there's anybody else in Donegal or have locations where this car can be parked and you can come on board and say, we'll sell raffle tickets for you with that car if you park it here for a few days or whatever the case may be, we'll get the car dropped.
Yeah, and so, I mean, obviously Brendan has people he's got good contacts with all over the place, but maybe you're in an area that, you know, he doesn't have a contact in, that you could locate this car here for a day or two and help with this fundraising drive. So, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Brendan, you never mentioned about volunteers. You said
volunteers.
You need volunteers.
Volunteers.
These
that's
different
right.
locations that you're looking to put the car in.
We need. I spoke to a man from Muff there, Coyle, his name is, and he says he'll look after the Clonmany show for 2 days there, because Garrett Noon says no problem, we can have the car there. That's a great event, and it's great to have it. We'll probably get Daniel down for a photograph with the car as well, and as I said, Brian McCracken said we could have it down in the shopping centre. Locations like that.
Yep.
But the other people that I was in contact with before with a tractor, it's going to be a lot easier than the tractor, but I'll be in contact with them as well. I'll be asking them for the location.
The same thing. It worked really well that time. Okay.
Yes.
And the drive itself, 27th of June. Lee, so you'll keep us up to date, won't you? Because
I
we
will
we
do.
want the crack as well.
Ah, yeah, sure. I'll link in on social feeds and stuff.
Yeah, brilliant.
We'll probably have our own social. I don't know what way we're going to do it just yet. We haven't clarified that, but yeah, I'll be keeping updated on a regular basis. And there'll be some spills, but there'll be bits of crack along the way, so it'll be entertaining watching as well. And we'll be updating, and it's to support publicising the cars and that, and trying to generate as much fundraising as we can as well.
All right. What does wrapping a car mean, of all the questions? It's just a new... Well,
wrap it in a film.
Exactly. It's a film, and to all intents and purposes, it looks like paint. A lot of people wrap cars to change the colour, but also, of course, you can wrap them for branding and marketing and flags and all that type of stuff. So it's a way of changing the colour. A lot of people wrap their
kitchens,
Teslas. No, the Teslas. You know, the silver Cybertrucks. A lot of people like to wrap them.
Oh,
so
right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Leslie.
Yeah.
It'll be good crack.
It'll be good fun.
3,700 kilometres.
Yep.
In a 28-year-old Mercedes. 28-year-old Mercedes, and then it's going to be raffled as well. 70 hours on the road, and they leave on Friday the 27th at 3 a.m. And then return to Rose's in Creaslet at 5 o'clock on Sunday the 29th of June. I'll be there waving for you.
I bet you will.
Just one thing I'd like to add, that when they're coming back in, they're going to come to this point here.
Yes.
And then they're going to ask vintage vehicles to join them.
A parade.
And the parade,
and
the Creaslet, and the last leg, you know.
Okay.
And that
do you have a stage or a band for Creaslet? That'd be good.
Well, we'll be working on that now as we go along.
No,
you know?
I'm just giving you ideas. I like it. He doesn't refuse any ideas, Tiny.
Oh, maybe you could come down and maybe MC, but you know.
Well, I've a message in here, and this was meant in the nicest possible way. Greg, could you see what the highest offer is for Leslie and the crew to leave Lee as far away as possible? So
leave me up on
John O'Groats.
John O'Groats. I'll take a week off. I'll do that.
No, but it's meant in jest. Right, brilliant. Listen, it's fantastic. So many people get involved, including this guy out here too.
Bernard, Bernard, Donnie doing a great job.
All the other people.
There's a lot of work involved in wrapping that
100%,
car.
Yeah, it'll be done to the nth.
He would have preferred if I'd have got a money. He'd be far smaller and handier.
There's a lot
or
of
a bicycle.
There's a lot of metal in that 28-year-old Mercedes. All right, Leslie O'Donnell, best of luck with the journey. Thanks so much for calling up. Lee Gooch, thank you for hanging about and chatting. And Tiny Vaughan as well. And the three boys, as well as Dennis Ferry, who we chatted to earlier. And it's the three boys, Lee, Leslie and Dennis. They're going to drive this car on a 3,700 kilometre journey. It leaves Letterkenny at 3 a.m. It returns into Letterkenny on Sunday afternoon, and the end result is arriving in Creaslet at 5 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. And it's to raise funds and awareness and understanding of the journeys of Cassie Sheridan, Zach McCrossan, and it keeps their names out there as well. Support for the family and the kids, and I think that's all lovely. Right, thanks very much indeed. Thanks Dennis,
Ray.
Thanks Tiny, thanks Lee, thanks Leslie. We'll be back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why.
The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €185 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
PDO thread lifts and skin boosters, which rejuvenate the skin by improving facial contours, lifting and tightening the jowls, neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. To choose the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. 07495 32575.
This month, Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny are having a massive display clearance sale. We're making room for new arrivals with incredible discounts on display furniture, including sofas, dining room furniture, bedroom furniture and more. It's your chance to grab top quality furniture at unbeatable prices. With the largest showrooms in the Northwest, Foy's is the place to shop interiors and paint. Foy's, where the best deals are waiting for you.
30 years of magic, 30 years of passion, 30 years of unforgettable performances. Riverdance 30, the new generation, is coming to the Gaiety Theatre in Dublin for a limited anniversary tour. Join us on Thursday the 28th of August to experience the rhythm and pure magic of Riverdance, live in the city where it all began. Luxury coach transfers, overnight accommodation on a bed and breakfast basis at the 4-star Grand Canal Hotel in the heart of Dublin. Fantastic seats to the show and free time to explore all that Dublin has to offer. Spaces are limited. Don't miss out on your chance to witness this iconic and unforgettable show. Contact us today on 9125,000 or check out The Outlet on highlandradio.com to book your place now.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Coonies have gone sofa mad with incredible savings on the Brooklyn sofa 3 and 2 with console all reclining. Was 2097, now only 1299, saving €798. The Sydney sofa 3 and 2 and 311 was 1897, now only 1499, saving €398. All sofas in stock ready for immediate delivery, but hurry, only while stocks last. Coonies Home Interiors, style and perfection at incredible value.
Concern over future of farm schemes. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, EU plans to scrap ring-fence cap budget could see ANC, acres and suckler schemes axed. Cattle exports surge by 20%. Find out how your co-op performed in our milk price review. Department pays Teagasc €100,000 in office rent. How an enduring power of attorney could protect your farm. Plus, win a Yamaha quad. Collect 3 tokens to enter. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
Try more alfresco flavours for less with Lidl Plus. Cue the barbecue with fish, Board B approved meats or poultry, 3 for €9. Serve the Spud-tacular with deluxe baby potatoes, 43% off, now 79 cents. Scan your Lidl Plus app and enjoy more for less when you go full Lidl this summer.
Milford Tiles, Milford Retail Park. Spring sale now on in our wood floor department. 8mm AC4 laminate flooring, €12.99 a square yard. New range AC5 herringbone laminate, $19.99 a square yard. In stock and ready to go at Milford Tiles. 083 0910 707.
Is é isce ar an Fontas Náisiúnta Isce na Héireann. Tá isce ar an freigrach as isce ó feibli náisiúnta ó sholáthar de Éireann. Isce tá dlán, sa bhailte agus on taofa. De bhreis sin tá sé freigrach as servicí faoil isce a chur ar fáil don tír. Maidir le haon cheis faoi servicí nó chun aibbe a cheantar thir isciú, is féidir dul le deagháil le Hisce Héireann 20 ceathair uair sa lá, 7 lá na seachtaine. Ag 1 8 9 9 2 8 2 7 8. Isce Éireann. Ag soláthar servicí isce de Éireann.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Okay, so the weather is going to become more cloudy and wet with outbreaks of rain and drizzle moving eastwards through the afternoon and evening. Temperatures of 14 to 15 degrees. Right, tomorrow evening, we're on to the next stage, the round robin stage. It's round one for Donegal and Tyrone. They meet in McCool Park, Ballybofey, 7 p.m. It's not on the telly. But it is on GEA Plus if you have that subscription, by the way. So it'll be on in pubs and what have you, I'm sure. Or maybe some of you have that or other ways of watching it, which I don't want to know about. Okay, Eamon McGee, 2012 All-Ireland winner. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Donegal v Tyrone tomorrow. It's always a big game. It doesn't matter, who's on a high, who's on a low, or if both teams are sort of on a par. Anytime we welcome Tyrone to McCool Park, it's always an occasion, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's massive game, and it's been the main rivalry in Ulster in the last decade. Now, Armagh have kind of stepped up to the plate a bit now, but last decade it was Tyrone and Donegal, and whenever they met, there was always fireworks. So, just from a neutral perspective, maybe I think the neutrals will be hoping much the same, but all we're hoping for is just Donegal to come out the right side of it.
Do you fancy Donegal to do so? I mean, if we can go just by the form book, yes, but I mean, obviously there's so many variables with rivalry and the teams knowing each other so well and so on and so forth. Maybe the phone book could go out the window.
100% it can. I think anybody thinking that Donegal going into this as hot favourites, like based on form, Donegal will be going in as favourites, but it's slight. This Tyrone team could have and probably should have beat Armagh, and we've seen the way Armagh put it up to Donegal in the Ulster final now. So it's going to be tight, but you're just hoping that. That Ballybofey factor, the fact that Jim hasn't lost there in championship football, so we'll get us through. But between the two teams, there's not much in them at all.
Are Donegal or one of a small group of teams that are sort of maintaining the form? I mean, we've seen Cavan beat Mayo in our own group there, 117 to 114. Kerry weren't terribly impressive. Some might argue against Roscommon, and then the Galway Dublin game there as well. It's kind of hard to sort of see where everyone's at. Armagh as well, you talked about them just getting past Tyrone. It's kind of hard to see where the big teams, who I think we can count ourselves amongst them, are at sort of in this competition at this stage.
100%. Donegal are in the conversation now. Listen, I am kind of reluctant to put them as odds-on favourites as for All Ireland, but based on my previous predictions, I think that might be the best thing is just to go with the All Ireland, for me to predict them as All Ireland favourites, and then they'll go and prove me wrong, or because any prediction I've done in terms of football has always turned out to be ridiculously off now. So, Donegal are in the conversation. So, I think it is hopefully that they can maintain. They've played a good league. They've done what they had to during the league, and so far they've done whatever they've had to in the Ulster Championship. And this is the next stage, and it's up to them now to lift it up another wee notch, because what we've seen before in terms of league, in terms of Ulster Championship, probably won't be enough to win the All Ireland. But there's no better man to get that extra gear out of them than Jim McGuinness and his backroom team.
Yeah, and they're changing the structure of this competition again next year, aren't they? I don't think we're going to have these group round robins. So this is the last time we'll see the competition in this incarnation until such time as they change it again, I suppose.
Yeah, and do you know this? I was just getting used to it, because I was looking at the fixtures ahead, and especially tomorrow, and it's just we'll be spoiled for choice, and I think you take that. And the fact that the rules have kind of, brightened up the game. Everybody's loving the way it's faster. There's more scores. And from 5 years ago, football was dead. Brigade were out in force, but now they have very little to shout about. And I think, whatever structure they bring yesterday, football's on a high and it's on a positive, and we've a lot to be happy about.
Yeah, and just in relation to how teams are performing and maybe some upsets or teams scraping by, is it the case, Eamon, that these new rules are so fresh that managers and coaches are still working on them and adapting? Because I think part of the problem with the way we used to play the game is that everyone had sort of set into a way of playing it, but there's more variables now. Do you think that's what's sort of shaking up the form book a little bit here and there?
It is, in terms of, it was very easy for a lot of what you would call average teams to get the foot into the game with the way they were setting up with a lot of men back. But with the rules now and the fact you have to keep 3 up, and the FRC that have proposed these new rules, they've done a brilliant job, and they've pushed forward this attacking. There's an emphasis on attacking football, more open, more space. And you're 100% right. It'll take, there's a lot of good coaches around the country involved in their county football, and it'll take them. They've taken to it so well, but they'll keep working it and they'll keep innovating, and you'll see things next year that probably we would never have thought of now. So it's good, and it freshens up the game. Personally, I'll admit that I thought I was kind of pushing just keep the rules as they are now, but I can't complain, and I think there's very few out there that can complain with the way the game and the way the games have been played at the minute.
All right, well, Sean Patton's named in the starting lineup, which is it's a big boost for us, isn't it? Because I think I think goalkeepers obviously have always been important, but even more so now. They seem such a crucial part of the game, and it's great to see them so influential, more between the sticks, I think, than maybe trying to knock over points up front. But it's a big boost if he starts out as named in the starting lineup, and then you go through the team, and it's such a strong team, and it's brilliant to see Michael Murphy back in there again. But then you look at the bench, Eamon, and there's game winners on the bench as well. The squad's in really, really good shape, and Patton's inclusion's a big boost.
Patton's the big one, and we need Sean Patton going forward. I think I've said this before, that there's 2 players that are replaceable in the Donegal setup, and one is Sean Patton and one is Brendan McCole. And because it's probably nearly ridiculous when you say it out loud, but we could absorb losing the likes of Gallen or Murphy. They're massive losses, but in terms of are replaceable, Patton and Brendan McCole are the 2 players that I don't think Donegal can go without, and we'll need him. And in terms of the squad depth and the strength, it's a testament to Jim and what the work he's done, because 3 years ago, before Jim came in, there was Donegal were in a mess. Then this squad was talked about, was probably in transition. You're going to drop down to Division 3. The good times are over, and now we've done a back-to-back Ulster. We're, as it says, in conversation for an All-Ireland Championship. So it shows you with the right man on board and the right mentality. The lads have bought into the mentality. You have to give them credit. I think Jim has pointed that out numerous times after the Ulster final, that everybody's saying Jimmy's winning matches, but it's grand coming with the plan. You need the lads to buy into it and buy into it right and implement it. So that a lot of credit goes to them, and we should never forget that.
Yeah, for sure. What has been so far in this championship? What stood out for you about this team? I mean, there's lots there. The level of fitness of Michael Murphy's one, astonishing. People had him in. Is he going to be a goalie, an impact sub, what have you? And there he is. You can see game on game his energy building. Then you've got brilliant players like Darryl Beale really coming to the fore. Patrick McBurty's always, a steady pair of hands. Anytime you see him in the lineup, I feel like, right, okay, we're in good shape. Ryan McHugh plugging away. So there's a great mix there, isn't there, of mature players, players that have really become top players, but also, great young players that are writing their name into the history books as the journey continues.
Yeah, it's for me. I don't think athletically, anyway. I think Donegal are out in front in terms of every other county in the country. I don't think there's anybody better, and Michael Murphy epitomizes that in the way he's got to that level and the work he's put in. And when I watched the Ulster final, the end of it, I just didn't see when Armagh pinned us back, got the draw, and I thought, that's us. We don't have anything left to give here. And then you see the likes of Murphy, Ryan McHugh just basically play until they can't play anymore. And that for me is the mentality. And I think we probably wouldn't have seen that 2 or 3 years ago, and it just goes back. That's they want to play for Donegal, they want to win for Donegal, and they want to perform. And I think when Donegal have 15 to 20 players in that frame of mind, being able to physically deliver that way of playing, then we'll be in contention most years.
Right, how does tomorrow night play out then? Tyrone have a massive second bite at the cherry. Really, you know, we're continuing our journey, so to speak. But how do you think tomorrow night plays out?
I have no idea, Greg. Oh, that's no good.
I told you to ring McHugh. No, I'm only joking.
It's because, you know, Tyrone have lain in wait this last few weeks. They'll be sore about the manner that their feet to Armagh. They probably felt that they should have been in Ulster final. Donegal have come off an unbelievably taxing provincial championship. So it's what happens now. Do the lads, what have they done in the weeks before? Tyrone will have analysed Donegal in and out. They'll know what to expect. Donegal will just have to recover, get the bodies right, get the legs of pattern, and you know there was a few knocks coming through that Ulster final. Get that all right, and it's just so hard to call in terms of what happens. I think the big one is the Balbuffet factor, and the fact that we haven't been defeated there under Jim McGuinness, and it's very important that we retain that. You know, a loss isn't critical, but for me personally, I just think I don't want to entertain thoughts of losing to Tyrone, number one, and losing that Balbuffet record. And I just think we should be going all out to win it, and then maybe we can relax a wee bit then now. But
and just finally, where do you see Derry in the mix? You know, you talked a little earlier on about how you know you would have been justified in thinking that Donegal were going into a rebuilding period. Well, we thought that Derry had gone through that rebuilding period and we're on the brink, you know, of becoming one of those big clubs, and that seems to somewhat have unravelled. They're in a very, very, very tough group, but I suppose anything's up for grabs. How do you see Derry? Do you see them? Well, only one team out of each group loses outright, so there's plenty of opportunity there. But do you see Derry doing anything this year?
Derry have a good group there. Derry have to realise themselves that they had worked themselves into the conversation for the All Ireland, much like Donegal. But having lost their manager Rory Gallagher, they just seem to have lost focus. And you know, from chatting to the knowledgeable GA people in Derry, I think they're still pining for Rory Gallagher, and they're kind of saying there's no one else but Rory Gallagher that can get us to the level, and they just have to move on because that's just not going to happen. And I think until they make peace with that, then Derry aren't going to compete. Now Derry could come around and throw out one good performance or, you know, shock a team, but going by what we've seen and, you know, what we've seen all year, what we've seen last year, then I just don't think Derry will be in. Possibly could get through the group, but they're not going to challenge at the end of the year.
And it is Derry in action tomorrow, isn't it, versus Armagh?
Derry and Armagh, Derry go into Armagh, and it's no easy place for them. You know, any weakness at all, Armagh are just going to rip them apart. So we'll quickly find out after 30 minutes what kind of mentality Derry have brought with them and what way they've went about their business after Donegal beat them in the first round of the Ulster Championship.
It's going to be interesting. Football tomorrow evening. Brilliant stuff. Okay, Donegal GA Masters are playing against Tyrone tomorrow. Big shout out to them. Hopefully Mr. McGee can join us sometime. Keep the morale up, lads. You wouldn't play Masters, would you, Eamon?
No. Just reply back to that text that says no. I've already replied to a few texts asking me on now. So
yeah, another caller says Eamon looks fit enough to start Saturday evening. You could do a job still. Last 10 minutes.
I thought I could now, but seeing the Ulster final there,
yes,
the way they went to the well and the physical shape of them, and once you see the likes of Murphy up close, and the way he's transformed just from being a club player back to the intercounty player, you realise that there's so much work involved. It's grand and on the big day, but the work involved to get to that big day, it requires so much sacrifice. And you know, my time unfortunately has passed, but
I remember Eamon said that. I think I remember Michael said that once. But anyway, maybe you mean it.
Michael wasn't on the other side of 40.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, but do you know what? It's funny how young he is, because in your head, because he's been around and so influential, you think he's a bit older. Eamon, listen, lovely to chat to you. Thanks so much. Enjoy the game. And that game, as I mentioned, we have full match commentary on it. As you would imagine, our brilliant team will be there at McCool Park. Bring your radio with you to the match, by the way, and listen to the commentary while you're watching it. Make it far more enjoyable for you, I would imagine. But also, too, if you want to watch it, it is on GAA+. So it's one of those sort of pay-per-view games. But maybe he's bought into the package. You'll get that one with it.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Hoka, the brand that has changed running shoes at Brian McCormick Sports. The ultra-cushioned game changer, Bondi 9, will give you a soft and bouncy transition from heel to toe. Enjoy the increased stack height with a new premium midsole. Look the part, play the part. In-store and online. Click on bmcsports.ie.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Donegal County Council invites you to enjoy the Baltana Festival, celebration of arts and creativity as we age, which takes place across Donegal from May 1st to 31st. Experience a month of inspiring art workshops, captivating theatre performances, music concerts, fascinating films and informative talks. All events are designed to celebrate creativity, encourage connections and enhance well-being. For full event details and bookings, visit donegalculture.ie or contact your local library. Donegal County Council, supporting our communities.
Discover a new way to cook outdoors with the Ninja Woodfire Electric Barbecue Grill, now at Ben Sweeney Euronics. It's a grill, smoker and air fryer all in one, with 7 cooking functions, no charcoal, gas or flames needed. Woodfire technology delivers real smoky flavour anywhere, in the garden, patio or in the campsite. Weather resistant and ready year round. Get the Ninja Woodfire Electric Barbecue Grill at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Letterkenny and Dunlow.
Clare Clothing, Main Street, Letterkenny. Would you believe we are open 25 years this weekend? Come celebrate with us, and our gift to you is 25% discount off all clothes. At Clare Clothing, Main Street, Letterkenny.
If that tickle in your throat has turned into a nasty cough, or if you're just feeling a bit under the weather, at McGee's Chemist we understand. From the right cough bottle to pain relief or throat lozenges, we've everything you'll need to get you back on your feet. Our pharmacists and experienced staff are always ready to offer advice and help you find the right solutions. Don't suffer in silence. Visit McGee's Chemist today. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, for healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
A very good morning to you again. Thank you so much for listening. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lovely hour on the way of chat and banter. But first at 11 o'clock, let's get a news update. And it is Michaela Clark. Hi, Michaela.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. It appears a surgical hub set to be established in the northwest will be based in Sligo as opposed to Donegal. During a recent visit to Letterkenny University Hospital, Health Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeill stated that no decision had yet been made. However, during a recent meeting, the HSC West Northwest confirmed that it was recommending Sligo as a preferred location based on population. Heather Humphreys has ruled herself out of the race to be the next president. The former deputy leader of Fine Gael says it's time for someone new. She won't be seeking the Fine Gael nomination to run for president, and she will support a former Midlands Northwest MEP, Mairead McGuinness, should she decide to run. A small business unit is to be set up within the Department of Enterprise. It's aimed at implementing an impact assessment on major decisions which could affect SMEs. Enterprise Minister Peter Burke says they want to make business owners' lives easier. A power outage is affecting parts of Inishowen this morning. 116 properties are without power in the Moville area. ESB are yet to give an estimated restoration time. Farmers are being urged to protect waterways as the silage and land spreading season gets underway. The local authority waters programme says due to low water levels, it's vitally important to ensure streams, rivers and lakes are protected. It's warning that silage effluent, manure, fertilisers and soiled water are highly pollutant substances if they enter a watercourse. Funding for footpath repairs in Rathmullen have been welcomed. It was recently confirmed that €51,000 had been allocated to carry out the much needed works. Councillor Pádraig McGarvey says efforts must continuously be made to ensure the safety of residents and visitors. And the Minister for Rural and Community Development has announced €1 million in funding for men's sheds associations. Grants of up to €3,000 are available for groups and will go towards operational costs such as heating, utility and insurance bills. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Back with much more on the 9 till noon show after this real short break.
These days, we're always being told to be more spontaneous and less predictable. At Uno Energy, predictability is what you want. Our app keeps you one step ahead with daily updates and monthly bill predictions so you can focus on saving.
And right now, we predict savings up to €1,012 on our newest dual fuel plan. With Uno Energy, you just know. Uno Energy discount variable electricity rate EAB €1,256 and discount variable gas rate €1,135. For T's and C's rates and savings calculations, see unoenergy.ie. Supplies pricing may change.
Yes, indeed. You're very welcome into the last hour of the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. It's great to have you with us, and it's great to have with us as well Michael Leddy. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Greg.
Good
Hello.
morning. How are you keeping? How was
Good.
your week?
It was a good week, busy week, not as busy as last week, and it was great to be out walking around I was just down to Caroline, walking around in the sunshine.
Yeah.
All very good.
What are you going to do next week?
Thank you for putting a pin in my balloon.
Yes, but there is some suggestion that the start of June.
Yeah, it's going
to see a.
Oh, it's going to come back around again. Yeah, I'm
again.
optimistic. By the way, I believe we're going to have a great year. So I think this is only a few days.
But it depends.
Few days.
I heard a couple of people say they can't wait for winter again. The darker evenings, they like that. They can chill.
Did you
more
give that
and
person a
stuff.
slap?
Well, I verbally slapped them, obviously. Richard Crawford's Business Development and Marketing Manager at Green On Theatre in Letterkenny. Good to have you in with us, Richard. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Out and about. I like this part of it. Oakfield Park, the Donegal Festival of Food and Craft takes place tomorrow and Sunday. What's this all about? I've heard bits and bobs about it, seen some signage. It sounds like it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. The food scene in Donegal is absolutely fantastic anyway, and Oakfield Park is just such a fantastic location for it. So all of the big hitters in the Donegal food scene are going to be there. So the two guys from Biddies are going to be there. We have Chris from the Lemon Tree is going to be there. Brian from Number 9. But then also there is Rachel Allen's going to be there. So it's an absolutely fantastic couple of days up at Oakfield Park. Lots on for the kids as well. There's tours of the walled garden. And there's music and all throughout the weekend as well. So I think it's going to be a fantastic couple of days. So hopefully we can get the weather to hold on tight there so that we can all go and enjoy it.
Yeah, I haven't been to too many of them, and I'm not saying this is the same, but the last sort of food festival-y type thing I went to was down in Donegal town, and it is a nice buzz meandering around the place. I don't think that runs anymore. It's not running. I don't know. Shouldn't say that really. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
But if it is, I will give it a good plug, and then that will counteract what I've just said. But no, it's a nice thing. Yeah. You know, it's a nice thing just to
of course,
mill around in, and what a setting for Oakfield Park. That is this weekend, the 24th and 25th. You're still watching The Bear on Disney, Micheál.
I sure am, and I have still to finish Series 3, and I see Series 4 is dropping in June. This is one of those consistently provided streaming shows because it pops up every year towards the last week of June. They're extremely consistent. This is the show that has won every award going, and for my money, together with Slow Horses, I think it is the best thing on TV. I think it's absolutely perfect. I started season 3 a couple of weeks back, and again, the first episode alone, for me, was like a masterclass in filmmaking. The storyline of the series, for those who don't know it yet, and it's on Disney, and I would encourage people to go back and get it. The episodes are half hours, very easy to get into. A young man who's very successful as a chef and away in New York City returns to Chicago after the sudden tragic death of his brother to take over his brother's business, which is a much smaller restaurant, kind of a scrappy kind of roadside kind of place. And we follow him as he tries to turn it around. It is definitely a toxic work environment when he arrives. Everyone has their own particular way of doing things, and they do not want him to turn things around. They're like a dysfunctional family is the best way to describe it. And over the first...
So it's relatable.
Oh, very relatable. Did I mention Highland Radio? Sorry, was I saying that? I didn't mention you by name, did I?
No,
I apologise. I was just
ahead,
thinking... So basically, we get, for me, and I think for the fans of the show, we become very emotionally invested in the characters and their journeys and the way they evolve and grow through season 2 into season 3. But also, objectively speaking, the filmmaking in the show and the craft of this show, I think, is absolutely superb. And I'll take the first episode of season 3 as an example. There was almost no dialogue. The scenes were all incredibly short. They were, some of them, like 5 seconds to 10 seconds. They jumped around in the narrative of what's established about the main character, Carmi. If you hadn't seen the first 2 seasons, you'd be lost completely. But it was all these little hidden moments that we hadn't seen, or there was an alternative perspective on things. It was an emotional journey in these flashes without dialogue, and it was incredibly rewarding for a fan of the show. And I think the third season then focuses on each of the characters in the ensemble through the run of the season. And season 4 is dropping in a month's time.
So it's all working out lovely
I
for you, isn't it?
really, I think for anyone who doesn't know the show,
Seems to be universally liked.
It is.
I think. I mean, it's either your thing or it's not.
Of course,
and if
it's
it's
not
not
for
your
everyone.
thing, you're not going to watch it and critique it, are you?
Yeah,
It draws people that like it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's that thing where it's almost sometimes like it's close to documentary almost. I mean, the camera kind of follows people as they're bickering and arguing, running around the restaurant, and sometimes into their personal lives. So that's not for everyone. So, but if he pushes your buttons at all, the sound in that, then I think this is the best of the best of what's available in that genre.
All right, it's on Disney. Have you watched this, Richard?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's just so beautiful to watch. I think like there's some of the scenes, as you say, like are just so intricate, but like you're just like. I'm obsessed with food anyway. But
it was a great segue, wasn't it? Yeah, Greg planned it very well by going.
I'm trying to see how we get to the next one. Go on ahead.
But yeah, just so beautiful to watch, and like Aowa Debray is just fantastic in it. And as an honorary Irish woman, she's just a pleasure to watch on screen. But I have kept season 3.
You're saving it up.
I'm saving it up.
Yeah.
I want to wait till close to season 4 starting, and then do a full haul of it, because I became obsessed with it. Like I really became obsessed with the first couple of seasons, and then I missed it. I was like, I'm going to hold it now for a while.
It's a show that really hits you, doesn't it?
But how long does a show like? Sorry, go ahead. The Christmas episode
of season 2 was like a hard one to watch because it seemed to be like traumatic to watch. Never mind anything else. Sorry, Greg. You were
I was just going to say, how long does a show like that run for? Does it have a natural end? Can they keep going? Is it like effectively the longevity of a soap opera, or is it something that needs wrapping up? Or
I think we'll get to a stage where everyone is probably as healed as they're going to be.
Yeah.
I hope. 6 seasons maybe. I'm guessing. I have no idea. I mean 4. And it's 4 now, and there's no word that I've seen of it wrapping up.
Well, why would they? I mean, it's being so it's so welcomed, especially for Disney, which doesn't have that many original jewels in its crown.
It's produced for FX, and FX shows like The Shield and Nip Tuck and those kind of things. That is a long litany of those kind of shows. Probably about 7 seasons is kind of the contracts I would imagine behind the scenes. So I'm going to say 7.
All right, is it HOME? Home?
Home.
Okay, it's a hip opera. Which I mean, there's a couple of things coming up in the theatre, but this feels a little bit different, if you know what I mean. So, talk to me about Home, the hip opera.
Yeah, so first hip hop and opera kind of combination. It's by Fidget Feet, who is just phenomenal anyway. We've done a lot of work with Chantal before, but a lot of the work is like kind of focused towards kids and schools and programming like that, but this is for adults, so it's really intricate. Some of the aerial work that they do in the show is just amazing. Like before, when Fidget Feet have been with us at Ingrid, like they've literally suspended themselves from the front of the building, so they put 150%.
And where are Fidget Feet based?
So she's based here in Ireland, but we have always done a lot of work with Chantal.
Yeah.
And like as I say, this is her latest piece. But it's got hip hop, it's got opera, it's got aerial work, it's got a bit of theatre in there. there's just so much to it.
Yeah.
And I think something a little bit different as well. It's kind of in the middle of the Aerial Arts Festival as well, which is really, really nice, and it takes us into the Aerial Dance Festival.
Yeah. So this is coming up on July 19th, so there's plenty of advance notice in relation to this. Have you seen the show? Or?
I've just seen the behind the scenes of it so far. Cool. I've seen the work that they've been putting in, and as I say, I'm expecting there to be an absolutely phenomenal performance.
And just in relation to a show like this, if we know it yet, is it a story told through hip hop and opera, or is it a series of performances, as part of a show? Yeah.
It's almost like each performer is telling their part of the story and their relationship with dance and hip hop, and then the opera is kind of like the accompaniment to that. So it's almost like you're getting a full performance, but you're getting to see everyone's individual story.
It's really interesting to chat to people coming out, because hip hop and opera are they're at other ends of the spectrum here, right? But the whole thing about music and art is collaboration and how it works, and it'll be interesting to see the age demographic, but also the reaction to the show. But you have to challenge people as well, don't you? I'm not saying this is out there, but you can't always play it safe in terms of what you put on stage. You have to sort of challenge the audience and say, here's hip hop opera.
Delivering something that you haven't seen before.
Well, that's it.
You've only seen this before. Like,
no, but there's always a good buy-in.
Another hip hop opera show.
Exactly, opera. But we generally have a good buy-in to this stuff, don't we, in this county and the surrounds?
Yeah, like
when I say this stuff, I mean, but
adventurous.
Exactly. Something in a different genre than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I think we're not afraid to kind of go out and see new things, and if there is something a bit more kind of to the left of the norm, I think we are encouraged to kind of to push that along a little bit more. I think
there's an audience. There's always an audience.
There's an audience for it, and especially for something that is really unique. I think people want to see that whenever they're going to go out and they're going to spend their money. They want to see something that's different.
Yep. And again, a show like this is a talking point as well. It's something you chat about afterwards, and you tell people about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Or you share the experience.
Right, that's the voice of Michael Eddy, very familiar to you, of course. Richard Crawford, his first appearance with us here on That's Entertainment. He's the Business Development and Marketing Manager at Ungreen on Theatre Letterkenny. What are you doing this weekend? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. Maybe it's something you're looking forward to watching. It could still be the football. Maybe it's something on the TV. Are you going to the cinema? Or maybe you're just going out and about like Richard, going out to Oakfield Park. What are you up to? What are you going to do this weekend? It's a Northern Bank holiday, isn't it? I think.
Ooh, is it? Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
I don't know what date it is anymore. I've had a busy couple of weeks.
If it's not directly affecting me, I don't care. No, that's not quite true. But let us know what you're doing for the weekend. 086 60 25,000. Mine's going to be pretty chilled, I think. Right, we're going to take a break. Back with more from Richard and Michael after these.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Get your home and garden summer ready with Watson Hire in Letterkenny. From lawnmowers to strimmers and compost to lawnmowers, they have everything you need to tidy, clean and green your space. If you're painting, inside or out, choose the best value paint in Donegal from top names like Fleetwood and Johnson's. Watson Hire, open 6 days a week at Lisnen and Letterkenny, with great deals to have your home and garden looking their best. See watsonhire.ie.
Make real summer savings at Super Value. Like Super Value Fresh Irish Housekeeper's Cut, save 25%. Super Value Fresh Fruit and Veg, 79 cents each. Pick up delicious wines from our Italian wine event from €8. And scan your Real Rewards card or app and get bold all-in-one pods 44-pack, now €10. Make real summer savings at Super Value. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
It's the perfect time to trade up with Opel. Whether you're in the market for a diesel, petrol, hybrid or all-electric, find your perfect 252 from the incredible Opel range. Order your new Corsa, Astra, Mokka or Grandland during the Opel 252 trade-up event and enjoy flexible payment options plus a €1,000 trade-up bonus. Opel's trade-up event. Find out more at Manor Motors Opel. See manormotors.ie for details. Terms and conditions apply. €1,000 trade-up contribution can be used as a trade-in or deposit booster.
Join Paul McDevitt and the Highland Radio Outside broadcast team live from Hidden Hearing, Pearse Road, Letterkenny this Saturday between 12 and 2 p.m. Celebrating 15 years in business. Ireland's leading healthcare provider, Hidden Hearing, has a long-standing reputation for exceptional service. Come meet the team, enjoy some refreshments, win a prize. Plus, there's a special appearance by Donegal's very own Daniel O'Donnell. It's all happening this Saturday. Come along and join in the fun and celebrate with Hidden Hearing and Highland Radio. Live on location in Letterkenny this Saturday from 12 till 2 p.m.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It is 11:17, and just a reminder, if you're interested in securing a seat for Home Hip Opera, it's a hip hop opera presented by Fidget Feet. That's on Green on July 19th, and it was Richard Crawford who recommended that. Michael Leddy's with us as well. I just want to mention, by the way, that Donegal GEA, in association with the Donegal Dublin Business Network and Donegal Association, they're hosting a summer fundraiser barbecue in the Harcourt Hotel in Dublin next Wednesday. It's at 6 p.m. with Jim McGuinness as a special guest. Compare for the evening. I wasn't available. Compare for the evening is Donegal. No, I wasn't asked. Compare for the evening is Donegal TV personality Ciara Doherty. There's raffles and an auction on the night, and all proceeds to the Donegal GEA Teams Training Fund. Tickets are limited, so maybe you're going to be down in Dublin that evening. Maybe you're listening in Dublin, as many of you do, or maybe you just want to travel down and maybe avail of a midweek rate. Go down and support the Donegal GEA team and check out their social media channels for more. Sounds like it could be good fun. This is not, I just want to mention this because it's timely, and it's not really, it doesn't necessarily fit directly into this hour, but it does talk about us as a people in our community. And it reads as follows: I'm listening to your programme as I get ready to fly to Perth to be with my son, who had a bad accident 2 weeks ago. And I think you know the two young lads who were injured in a workplace incident over there. And the caller goes on to say, but for the kindness of my community, for which I will ever be grateful to. That's how they're able to go. I would not be in this position. We cannot let our communities die as they hold us up when we need it most. We have exported our best young people to the other side of the world, and they too have a strong community there. They are world class at looking after each other when the chips are down. We live in a wonderful county of kindness. Indeed, we do have a wonderful county of kindness, and we have our differences and we disagree on certain things, and some of those views are quite polarised. But when the chips are down, we come together. And the one thing too, I've never been to Australia, but certainly having been to Dublin, which is pretty close to home, but certainly London, Dubai, there's a fantastic community of Irish and a great community spirit. And funny, what you see in the likes of London, Dubai, Perth, New York, wherever, where Irish are and sort of live close to each other, you see the traditional sort of community that used to be here, that we're losing to some extent. It is still there, don't get me wrong, but it's funny, that sort of old school community, you actually have to go to Dubai or London or somewhere else to actually see it. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Safe travels, and I hope your young lad, he's big and strong, and I'm sure he'll fully recover, and I really do, and I'm sure he will. And safe travels. I'm sure you're just dying to see him. Hi there, I'm part of the Highwayman Tribute Show playing on Green on Theatre, Letterkenny, this coming Saturday night. We're really looking forward to getting back to Donegal. We're going to have to get on Green on to sponsor this. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. Is it?
We can talk after.
Am I talking about another on Green on show in this as well? I mean, are they going to start sponsoring it? No, I'd love it. I'm reading it out, but he's in here plugging everything left, right and centre. There's another show coming up, and now I'm going to read this. Hi there, I'm part of the Highwayman Tribute Show playing on Green on Theatre, Letterkenny this coming Saturday night. We're really looking forward to getting back to Donegal after receiving the Hot Country TV Award for Best Tribute Act 2025 in Bundoran last month. Wondering, would you be able to give it a mention over the next couple of days? There you go. Thanks, David. More than happy to do so. I was chatting to Leo Sayer yesterday.
Oh, really?
He was on the programme, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's 77 on Thursday, and then he spoke to us yesterday. He's coming to Ireland in July. And he looks fantastic. But what a nice guy.
Cool.
Like, I couldn't get him off the call.
That's
in the nicest possible way.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
because we were having a chat and all that kind of stuff. And then he says, do you want me to show you the recording studio? So we picked up the laptop, he went into the recording studio, and I says, brilliant, Leo, thank you for that. And then he says, and wait till you see this. And
That's
then
lovely.
he walked over and he had a poster from the Cork Opera House, is it? What is it, Cork? What? Anyway, the venue down in Cork he played decades
must be
ago.
the Cork Opera, yeah.
And he's coming back. I think he's playing that venue again. But such a lovely, normal person.
Yeah, good. That's good. That's good to hear.
You know?
Yeah.
And recognises that he is who he is because of the public and his relationship with them. Has anyone watched anything funny on Netflix? I just want funny. Something to make me laugh. I don't watch comedies per se, either, short format half hours or very rarely films. I just find them very hit and miss, a bit like horrors, if you know what I mean. I think
comedy is difficult.
I think you have to watch 200 before you get one that you like. I don't know. You're the king of the. Normally.
I'm not sure if they're on Netflix.
Canadian
I
nonsense
recently
you watch.
rewatched the Naked Gun films in light of the fact that the new ones coming out. I watched all three of them.
Yeah.
Are they on Netflix? I couldn't tell you. But I mean, I found them. I knew the first one by heart because I've seen it so many times. I'd almost completely forgotten the third one, and yet I would say it's probably the best. Maybe because I had forgotten so much of it, but I laughed.
Is OJ in the third one?
He's in all of them.
Is he?
He's the regular. Yeah, he's like one of the sidekicks. He doesn't have a lot to do, but he's there. He's there throughout. And there's an interesting reference to OJ in the trailer for the new one as well. It's a gag from the film. But they hold up and they're very funny.
One of the greatest laughs I ever had, and I don't know why it tickled me as it did, but there's a joke about taxidermy in it.
Yes.
And it is of a time.
Yes.
The phraseology is not as common quite as much as it is now. But
No.
my word,
It was funny,
I think I was watching it in front of my parents, and I just thought, I get this joke, and I just laughed. Has anyone watched the Rose and Fred West documentary? Yes, I did. It's such a familiar story. It's such a familiar story that it's shocking and it's horrendous. I don't think it advanced it anymore. If you're not familiar with it, it's entertainment as much as a show about the subject matter can be. But I watched the 3 episodes, and
it's grim.
It is grim.
I haven't seen this show, but
you know
grim
yourself,
story,
it's a peculiar situation we find ourselves in. Is we're watching it to entertain ourselves, even though the subject matter is horrific. But it is.
Yes.
It's very well put together. Good access to the key players. A bit of audio that wasn't around before. Well worth watching. I enjoyed it as much as you can.
Enjoy something like that.
Enjoy something like that. Podcasts. No, yeah, we did the Bear with you. Back to podcasts with you. We'll do a podcast if that's okay, because you're a bit of a listener. Real survived stories sounds interesting.
Yeah,
what's this about, Richard?
It's one of my favourites now. It's hosted by a guy called John Hopkins, and he has just this really captivating voice, and I think that's half of the one for this. But it is exactly as it says in the tin. It is real survival stories. So it follows along with like the most extraordinary stories that you can possibly ever imagine happening, and it catches up with the people who have actually survived. Some of them sound absolutely made up, but they are just absolutely phenomenal. As I say, it's kind of an injustice nearly to describe the host as a host. He's nearly like a narrator. It's like you're listening to like a really well put together audiobook a lot of the time. But some of the stories are phenomenal, and one I do have to, like, if you're going to give it a go, I'd say it was the first one I listened to, because you don't have to listen to it in order. It was called Swallowed by a Hippo, and it followed a story on the Zambezi River. And when I tell you, if someone seen me listen to it in the car, I was like screaming. I was like, what? Like, it is just absolutely phenomenal. And like, as I say, the way it's put together, the way it's produced is just really, really captivating. So I'd say definitely give it a listen. But if you want to try it out, go after the Swallowed by a Hippo story.
Okay.
Like, I want to know what's the next one. I mean, if that's number 1, what's number 2?
Like, some of them aren't. Like, some of them are just very kind of good stories. But some of them
and it's
are
global, obviously, from that example. Like,
global,
so it's not just, so it's anywhere.
No, there was down at the
down at the Swilly,
down at the Swilly, and someone was fishing, and
yeah, I remember,
they were swallowed by a hippo. So yeah,
I remember Donal mentioning that one even.
It's a local production.
I do remember now. Yeah,
it's a local production
totally.
indeed. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Generally, podcasts are available on all platforms.
Yeah, that's
they?
available everywhere you listen to your usual one.
It's just BBC Sounds or Spotify for me. I don't know.
Yeah, Spotify
it's on there
first,
too.
and Podbean as well if I can. But yeah, Spotify my first port of call. Yeah, it's really good. Let's get them. Yeah.
Because my majority of the majority of mine are listened to whilst traveling.
Yeah.
And I generally don't download, I stream.
Yeah.
So I find Spotify works best in adjusting the download space or buffering it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas BBC Sounds, as soon as you lose your internet, you lose it.
You lose it. Yeah.
But Spotify, I think you must have a different way of doing it. So that's why I prefer it, though you get ads.
Yeah, I think they've. Yeah,
when are
you're
they going
right.
to take BBC Sounds away? Because they've been threatening for ages, and it's still there. Like,
that's like RTE Gold. I mean, RTE Gold has been dying for the last
but
decade. It's been dying for a decade.
Yeah, but their BBC Sounds now is going to be Britain only, UK only. The geo-blocking it.
There are ways around that.
I know, but I ain't putting VPNs on and in my phone because then you know yourself.
I know it's that. Yeah,
and then it confuses all my Google Maps and traffic and all that kind of stuff.
You're looking
but
for
no,
directions.
But you know,
it thinks you're like
but it confuses everything. But yeah, okay. But it's still threatening to go, but it hasn't gone yet, which I suppose is not too bad. Right, so that's a podcast called Real Survival Stories, hosted by John Hopkins. Why is that name familiar? Is it because
he appeared in Midsummer Murders, if I recall, many moons ago, and he's got like a really recognisable voice. But he does a few other podcasts as well. But he has appeared in Midsummer
maybe
Murders.
it's just a medical John Hopkins medical thingamajig as well. Maybe that's what's actually reminding me. I know it's completely unrelated, but I think it's I don't know what it is.
Might try one of them. Actually, I'm just writing it down.
Yeah, write that down. Write that down on your phone screen.
Yes, indeed.
You mean type that down?
What did I say? Right?
Write it down.
Well, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Semantics.
I know, sometimes when I'm teaching, I teach iPad classes, and sometimes I say to people, click on that. Click? No, you don't click anymore. The mouse is long gone. It's just, I'm stuck.
I will give you click above writing.
I'm stuck in 1997. I'm just clicking everywhere. Clicking
they
and
didn't
writing.
Have a,
clicking and writing.
They've got no more young, relatable people could do this teaching then, no.
That hurts. But I will crush the pain and get us to 12 o'clock, and then I'll cry outside afterwards.
I'll give you 2.5 minutes to pull yourself together. Back with more after these.
Don't miss Homeland's May Mega Deal. Save 15% on wild bird feeders and tables. Farm stock solar fencer S440, now $179. Save €20. Bold all-in-one lavender and chamomile pods 51 wash, now $13.99. Save €6. Offers until May 31st. Shop in store or at homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
Calling all self-builders and rebuilders. Are you planning to build an A-rated energy efficient home? Join Castle Forums for a free information day this Saturday at the Clannery Hotel, Letterkenny, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Build faster, warmer and more cost effectively with ICF walls and insulated foundations from Castle Forums.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
This Friday is Guide Dog Day. At Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind, we need your support to change more lives. Visit guidedogs.ie to donate, join a Take the Lead walk, or be in with a chance to have dinner with Roy Keane. Guide Dog Day, sponsored by Park to Travel.
Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny. Award-winning travel experts. Sail the Sicilian coastline. Dive the Maldives. Tour Riacan and Tuscan vineyards. Stroll the shores of Lake Garda or the streets of Santorini. Indulge the senses. Savor new flavors. Embrace warm welcomes, smiling faces, and balmy sunsets. Escape with atlantictravel.ie. Book today.
Sprain, minor injury, cuts, burns, just not feeling well. Skip the hospital long wait. Get seen fast at the Ophidia Minor Injuries and Illness Clinic located at Scally Place, Letterkenny. No appointment needed, just walk in. We're open Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Charges will apply. Pay and reclaim with PHI. Ophidia, expert care when you need it. Visit ophidia.ie for more.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
All right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. It's the last hour of the week, which means that's entertainment. We've been out and about, indoors, been listening to podcasts. We've been at it all in the company of Michael Leddy, writer and blogger, and Richard Crawford, who's business development and marketing manager at On Grianon Theatre in Letterkenny. Megan Rush, the youth worker with the Donegal Youth Service. Good morning, Megan.
Morning, Greg. How are you on this
Good.
lovely Friday? Weather's broken.
But sure, it'll be back. It'll be grand. We need a bit of water on the lawns and grass and whatever you have. Right, it's 10 years since the historic marriage equality referendum. I think it was the first time you're breaking up a little bit there, but I think it's the first time by public consensus that such a decision was made. So there's a day of celebration coming up, Megan. What's happening?
Yeah, so we are doing a wee event just to commemorate, because like you said, Greg, it is historical. We're the first country in the entire world to publicly vote for gay marriage, for marriage equality. We are the 20th country worldwide to do it. So we think it's important to mark this occasion. I'm a youth worker with Donegal Youth Service. I work with the Breakout Group, a wee group dedicated to supporting LGBT young people in Donegal. So we'd be remiss to let this occasion pass without acknowledging it. We're doing a wee event in Grianon Theatre today from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Open to everyone. There'll be live music from young people who participate within the youth service. There'll be refreshments. There'll be speeches from people who participated in getting that vote for the country. So it'll be a lovely wee day. Loads of snacks, loads of biscuits, tea, coffee, the works. And it'll just be a nice wee day. Lots of art from the young people on display. A timeline of the journey towards marriage equality. Photos displaying people in the community within Donegal. So it's very much a community event.
Yeah, and it runs for the 2 hours, as you mentioned, but you don't necessarily have to be there from the beginning to the end. It's you can go in and sample. You can, well, you know yourself, if something's in On Grianon, people feel it. There's a start time and a finish time, but this is more casual, isn't it? You can go in and out as you see fit.
Yeah, very open, very much a drop-in. Come in and go as you please, hang about, get a cup of tea, listen to some people, have some chats, and if you feel like that's enough for you, by all means, do not hang around. Very much a drop-in, yeah.
Okay, and that's today.
That's today.
All right, okay, so get along to that if you so wish. Thank you very much indeed, Megan. Now, Fannad Gale's Senior Ladies Fundraiser. The Senior Ladies are holding a pop-up shop for new and pre-loved items of clothing to raise funds for Comórtas Páilín Gael Tachta All Ireland Finals. Anyone who would like to donate items, they have to be in great condition, as you can imagine. We have a contact number for Kate here, and the ladies will be promoting sustainable fashion in their one-day pop-up thrift shop. While promoting good practice, the team hopes to raise funds for their forthcoming trip to the All Ireland I know exactly what I'm trying to say. Shannon, Comórtas Páilín Gael Tachta, is that right? No, what is it then? I've said this a million times. What is it? Huh? Comórtas. Yeah, Comórtas. Pella. But I just said Paella, so I was there. Paella. Right, we're not having paella, though that sounds nice. Paella? Pella. Comórtas Páilín Gael Tachta finals in County Meath. It's all right. This is pre-recorded. We can cut that out. Thanks for that, Shannon. I'll cut that out. I'll just put that marker on the recording. Right, so come and browse through the items for sale, enjoy a cuppa and buy some home baking from their cake stall. So where is it? It's in the Old School Community Centre, Kerry-Keel. It is tomorrow and runs from 11 to 3 p.m. So maybe you've got some good clothes that are tucked away. Maybe they're out of fashion. Maybe you just don't wear them. Apparently getting rid of old clothes from your wardrobe is very therapeutic, so you could be doing yourself a favour there. And if you'd love them to be loved again, I've got a number here for Kate. And of course, washed, dry cleaned, ready to hang, pressed, you know yourself, and leave them ready for sale. Formal, casual wear, as long as it reaches a standard resale quality. They're very keen on not getting tatty. And quite rightly so, just reiterating that we don't want your tat. But if you want to support the ladies in their efforts, why not? And it's great to see your stuff being reused and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to worry about your carbon footprint for clothes anyway. You've had that same T-shirt on for 6 years.
You said like getting rid of stuff from the word was therapeutic. I wouldn't know. I've never done that.
But apparently it is. You know, what is it? If you haven't worn it for a certain amount of time, you know, you're never going to wear it again.
True enough. Yeah. True
6
enough.
months, I think.
Yeah.
6 months. So. Yeah. But apparently it's like ridding yourself of stuff. not just the physical but the emotional.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Well.
It does
I
make
did an
sense. I
interview
agree with
about
you.
that on quite some time ago. Right, okay. So just to remind you, 4 to 6 p.m. this afternoon on Grianon Theatre. It's a celebration of 10 years of marriage equality. They're going to have special guest speakers from the Yes Equality campaign, music and artwork, refreshments provided. So don't have to be there from 4 to 6. It's laid out in such a way you can go in and see a performance or a reading or listen to a speech or whatever. Right, okay, Murderbot on Apple.
Yes, this is brand new. 2 episodes dropped this week, and I was all over them because I had seen the trailer and I had a feeling I would enjoy this.
Okay.
And I was not disappointed. Murderbot is based on a series of books that I never heard of, and there are 10 half-hour episodes, bite-sized, and 2, as I say, have dropped. Apple do that thing where they drop 1 episode a week, so it's going to be running now through June and into July, which I think is a great way forward. I think it's the way to do things. I'm not a big fan of binging. I don't type.
Yeah,
So
but you don't have to binge.
You don't have to binge, but then you're
put it up.
behind.
But
You're
yeah, but-
behind. You know what I mean?
Well,
You're
let's
like,
put it up and let people watch it at their discretion.
oh yeah, but I'm just then you're like everyone's chatting about
It's
it. And you're
not
like,
to
I haven't
suit
seen
you,
it.
it's to suit
I
them.
know, but it has to be about me. It has to be
Yeah,
about me.
but it's not for you.
Yeah.
They're doing it for them.
And another thing about, I'm ignoring him now. Another thing is Apple tend, I think, to have the best shows. Like For All Mankind is on there, Severance is on there, Slow Horses. They have the best shows,
Yeah.
if you ask me. They
Well, they've the
really
money,
do.
don't they?
They have the
Pump it
money,
in.
and money is all over this show as well. And this show, it's like another show on my list. It's basically Resident Alien, but instead of having an alien, it's got a robot, and it's exactly the same show. And I'm not saying that in a negative thing. It starts off very cleverly, I feel, and it starts off with a scenario we've seen before, and it's something that it's a trope we will recognise. We're in the far future, right? And it's a populated galaxy, all these different races, all these different planets, and we have a sec unit, a security robot, and he's on a mining colony, and he narrates the action. So the opening scene sets the story brilliantly. He's in the middle of all these humans, these miners. They finished their shift or they finished their term, and they're all just having this mad party, running around, drink and smashing things, and he's just fed up of it. He does not like any of this. His narration makes it clear that he has a very poor view of humans. He just can't stand us for various reasons. But he also explains that he has been working furiously to crack what's called the governor control, which prevents him harming humans or doing certain things. There's a lot of things he's forbidden to do. He's like a human. He's based like him. He's got a helmet instead of a face. We don't know what's under the helmet till late in the story. But he's just standing there, and they're actually setting his hand on fire at one point just to amuse themselves. And he's like, can't do anything about this. Gotta just take it. And then he cracks the code. He breaks his programming, his core programming, and suddenly he's like, I can do anything now. I can kill every one of them because he's super powerful. He's like a killing machine. His job is to protect them, but now that that's been taken away, he can kill them, take a ship. He renames himself Murderbot because he doesn't like to be called Sec Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever he's called. And then, which is what I love, he then decides, well, what am I going to do if I do that? Like, I'm not actually going to do that. I'm going to kill all these people. Get rid of that. But what he can do is he now has access to the entertainment channels. And so he starts to binge soap operas. And we get to see these awful shows that he's watching. And he just becomes this sort of sarcastic, mean-spirited robot. There's something wrong with him. He's rented from the miners. The core story starts then very quickly, where scientists who have arrived on a deserted planet, apparently deserted, have been forced to bring him along. He doesn't like them. He calls them hippie scientists. He can't stand them, but he is going to protect them if they listen to him. They know there's something up with him. They think he's a bit weird, but they have to have a security robot. There are some action sequences which are brilliant.
It looks fantastic.
It looks amazing. Apple have really thrown money at this. It's really funny, really, really, really funny, but it's also getting a lot of praise. I mean, it's high numbers on Rotten. I think it's 98 on Rotten Tomatoes.
So what is it though?
The key thing is that it's...
No, I know what it is. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's, you know
But
when
it's-
you sort of say things are funny and all. It's clearly not a comedy though.
It's a comedy drama. It's
Right,
comedy,
okay.
it's like comedy drama, sci-fi action is
Yeah.
how they describe it. What it's getting a lot of praise for is the main character, who's described as both agender and he's like on the spectrum. He's like he has difficulty making eye contact. He's a fascinating character that a lot of the demographic I think will connect with. He like there's romances there's a good 6 or 7 scientists, and there's like romances and things happening. He's not into any of that stuff. He's completely outside of that, and he just wants to be left alone to binge watch soap operas. When things go down, he can really, I mean, he's a killing machine, so he can defend these guys, and there are monsters, big spoiler, not spoiler, but there's monsters on the planet, there's stuff happening. And by the end of episode 2, we realise there's a conspiracy, there's something being hidden. The planet that is deserted might not be deserted. Parts of the map that they were given have been blacked out.
Okay.
And when they start to investigate, we see something that is very ominous, very ominous.
You want to see what happens
You want
next.
to see what happens next.
Yeah.
But it's funny, it looks really expensive. It's a lot like Resident Alien in the best possible way, because we are privy to the thoughts of someone who can't stand humans, but at the same time, I can predict that over the run of this, like Harry on Resident Alien, he's probably going to learn to tolerate and maybe grow a little bit as time goes. But he's a fantastic character. It's a really good show. Solid 9 for me for the first episode, and maybe 8.5 for the second episode. I was laughing, and I was just I wish there was a third episode to watch tonight and a fourth episode tomorrow night, and I'd do it.
You mean
that
you
way.
wish you could binge it?
That's not binging. Binging is
just says I'm
a little bit of binging.
I'm complex, Greg.
Oh, you
just have
are.
to, I am complex.
Complex are all
complex.
Greg, I've got 3 big bags of perfectly good teddy bears and stuffed animals. Is there a children's charity that make good use of them, or anyone looking for something for a fundraiser? So 3 bags, big bags of perfectly good teddies and stuffed animals. Get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with that listener. Greg, could you read this out if you had time before you finish up? Drumkeen United Football Club invites the people of Drumkeen and surrounding areas to come and join us for an hour at any time during this weekend's Relay for Life. So Relay for Life kicks off on tomorrow at 4 o'clock at the ATU in Letterkenny. There's loads of parking. It's a wonderful atmosphere. You can go in and walk around and chat to people, and there's some very special events taking place over the course of the hour. There's entertainment all day Saturday from 4, and then all day Sunday until close. Daniel O'Donnell's doing a concert on Sunday, and we know that he's recently announced that he's taking a break from touring next year. So you're getting actually a free concert for Daniel O'Donnell effectively. Get along to that, because you might not see him on the road until 2027. And also too, Sinead Black singing there. David James is going to be there. Callum Keaveney is going to be there. There's a whole host of brilliant artists across all different genres. The Survivors Orchestra is performing, of course. You've got the Letterkenny Ukulele Orchestra, and on it goes. There's so much entertainment, and it's just as, even though the subject matter is about raising money for cancer, remembering those who we've lost from cancer, or even supporting and celebrating those that survive and continue to thrive, it is a joyous place to be. So if you have any time on Saturday or Sunday, please go along and support them. Don't be discouraged if there's their odd shower about. You will be grand. What are you made of? Sugar is a question, and I'm sure you're not. 086 60 25,000 if you want to comment or mention anything. Morning Panel Andor has to be the best Star Wars TV show created, especially as it is a prequel to the Rogue One movie. Rogue One also the best Star Wars movie since the original 3. It must be lovely when you love something and then something drops and it just fits into exactly what you want to watch. All right, I'm going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with another from Richard Crawford, who's with us as well. He's the Business Development and Marketing Manager at On Green On Theatre, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Discover the hidden gem of Letterkenny, La Papa Kitchen and Coffee House, where you can indulge with friends in delicious Buddha bowls, pastas, light bites and organic coffee. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Remember the name, La Papa, located next to KO Fitness and McGinley's Furniture on Joe Bonner Road. Open 7 days a week, 9 to 5 Monday to Friday and 10 to 2 on Sunday.
Want a new Kia? Call to Heron Auto Donegal to arrange your test drive on our 252 Kia range, where quality customer care comes first. We have 0% finance available on all EV models. Visit Heron Auto on the Killybegs Road to test drive and order your 252 Kia and receive a €500 Super Value gift card. Drive with confidence. Drive with Heron Auto.
Make more meals for less with Dunnes Stores, where you'll save on ingredients to make delicious hot dogs. That's an 8-pack of Irish pork sausages, just €1. Cooked in a pan before serving in buns, 6 for just €1.10. Delicious with your favourite toppings. All from the Dunnes Stores range. Plus, you can save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Summer is here and so is the hottest sale of the year at Easy Living Furniture. Absolutely everything reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. The spectacular summer sale is now on at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all.
Easy Living Furniture. Luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So it's going to become cloudy and wet with outbreaks of rain or drizzle moving eastwards through the afternoon and evening. There'll be mist and hill fog too. Highest temperatures 14 or 15 degrees with a light to moderate south to southwest wind. And the temperatures are going to stay up in the mid to high teens too next week. So even though we might have a bit more damp weather, it's not going to be incredibly unpleasant, I hope. A caller says, I'd love the teddy bears. We've already found home for the stuffed toys. Isn't that cool? I'd love the teddy bears for Team Hope shoe boxes. All right, Jane, we're going to put you in contact with that listener, and that listener has got those lovely toys, a new home, which is lovely. I suppose we're probably going to have to do another thing from Hungarian, aren't we, really?
Oh, no.
I'll allow you to pick one of the remaining two.
So I'm going to talk about Mosh.
Yeah.
Myself and Michael were just talking about this a little while ago. So it's a dance show, technically, but it has a million other things to offer. So just to kind of talk you through how it works. So as you're going into the auditorium, you're given earplugs because the show is super loud. But it's loud on purpose because they want you to feel the actual music.
Oh, right, to get you. Right.
I've been to a show similar to this earlier this year, and it does make all the difference. Like, you really pay attention, you really concentrate on the show. But moshing is, as the title suggests, about moshing. And
so these like mosh pits that you would see at concerts where you know everyone's standing around orderly and in seats, and then the mosh pit
just erupts.
It's just yeah, okay.
So there's 5 dancers on stage, and they're basically moshing out to a live band. There's a live band on stage. The music is heavy metal. It's ways towards that. But every so often the dancers break the fourth wall and like speak to the audience and tell their stories about what moshing means to them and what the community is, because it is like a subculture.
Okay.
And it is this thing that a lot of people from the outside, myself included, would be like my worst nightmare. I was like, I want
but
to
it's not
stay
accidental.
really far away from
People,
that.
this is how people enjoy their entertainment. Get into that mosh pit.
That's it. Like, and for the people who really love it, like it is like a part of the enjoyment of the concert. So this show kind of delves into that in a big way. But sound and lighting are a massive part of this show. And again, with the sound, like the big thing is putting those earphones in, so you almost feel secluded in the show. So like it's very insular because you're not kind of distracted by anything else. You're very much concentrating on what's happening on the stage. But
did you say earplugs or earphones?
Earplugs.
Right, okay.
So and it's to dull the sound a little
Yeah,
bit
but
because
that
the
you
sound
still
is
feel
so
the-
loud.
you
But
still
it's to
feel the
feel those-
vibration. Yeah, okay.
And it takes the experience to a different level. And like the quality of the dance that we've had this past year especially has just been phenomenal. And this show is just really, really interesting. It's really cool. Again, it's not for the faint of heart because, as I say, the music is pretty hectic.
Do the audience
but
sit in the seats as normal?
sit in the seats as normal. And the dancing is super intense. Like
Okay.
it really, really is. Like, they've got some really cool snippets online for it if you want to check it out. But it just kind of like delves into something that is probably very misunderstood, I think, from the people who don't understand it. But this show kind of tries to explain that a little bit more to people, and so that they have a better idea of what it is.
Yeah, there's probably not grey areas in moshing.
No.
You're either in it or you're outside
Yeah.
it. I don't think you sort of go, I'll mosh for the first three.
Yeah, let's give this
I'll
a
have
go.
a mosh for the first 3 songs. And
Half-hearted
then
mosh.
go take-
Yeah,
go and
that's
take
it.
a seat.
Just
Going along, yeah.
It's
dip a toe
astonishing,
in.
really.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and it's huge in rock music. It is even just beyond what we know as the mosh pit.
Yeah.
It is. It's a level of organisation to it. I'd say back in the day with the mods and the punks and all that kind of stuff, it was all elbows and headbutts, wasn't it? I think it's slightly more refined nowadays. All right, that's coming up on July 5th in on Greenon. Again, it's another one that sort of challenges a
Yeah,
little
a little
bit.
bit more-
Challenges a
Great,
little bit
more different.
A little bit different. Resident Alien. You've already talked about this.
I've talked about it a
in
little
way.
bit, and I'll talk about it, I suppose. But I'll say another thing about Murderbot because I left out something important, which might answer one of your questions, and it might kind of help sway people. Looking at the credits of the two guys who are behind this, writing, directing it, interesting. They were the guys responsible for the first American Pie movie.
Okay.
They also did the About a Boy movie. Remember that with Hugh Grant? Great. And one of them was the writer of Rogue One, which is the highly acclaimed Star Wars. So that eclectic mixture kind of actually explains what Murderbot
Kind of
is.
sounds a little bit like the crossover with the boy Seth behind Family Guy. You know.
Oh,
sort
yeah,
of
Seth
comedy-
MacFarlane. Yeah.
tough comedy sci-fi.
Yeah, because he does the Orville, which is an amazing show as well.
But
and
it's
yet
played pretty straight.
played completely. Yeah, exactly. There's humour in it, but it's as much humour in that as there is in Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know,
Murderbot looks very much like that Tom Cruise film. What's it called? You know, where he keeps doing the same thing over and over.
Oh,
again.
Live, Die,
No, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, it has that. It's
Yeah.
really glossy. It's got a full-on.
I think
Hollywood.
Live, Die, Repeat was the promo, but the
That's
film
right.
was called something else. They should have called it Live, Die. Everybody debates about that online. They misnamed the film.
That's if
Emily-
you're English speaking.
Emily-
Remember
Emily Blunt.
we were talking about Emily Blunt was in it.
Yeah.
The foreign titles for films are quite hilarious.
Mm.
But yeah, it has that look. It's very polished, and it is clearly, obviously, green screen and stuff.
Oh yeah, but
you were talking too about films,
the-
though. I mean, I was listening during the week about Donald Trump. He announced the defense system for the United States, the Golden Dome.
Right.
Or whatever, and it just sounds like the opening credits to Terminator. I mean, Golden Dome, artificial intelligence. What could possibly go wrong here?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
It feels like
We're living in one of those.
It feels like we're moving
into
into
those, full tilt. Yeah,
Terminator.
Yeah, unfortunately,
effectively, and someone's gonna have to be sent back. Someone might turn up here and go, "Oh, by the way, do you remember what you were saying?"
Don't switch that on. Don't
Yeah.
turn that on.
All right, okay. Do you get to watch much TV, Richard, or is all your time taken up, I suppose, with, you're obviously engrossed in theatre and what have you, and then.
Like, I think the only thing I do outside of work is watch TV.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And there is some just amazing shows on at the moment, and one I do want to talk about is Poker Face. I don't know if you guys
Oh
have
my
watched
gosh!
it, but
Yeah, have you seen the new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely up to date. I've watched a few episodes, but just to kind of give you the premise of it, it stars Natasha Lyonne, who is
Amazing.
absolutely phenomenal.
Amazing.
People recognize her from Orange Is the New Black.
Yes.
She's one of the big
Yes.
characters there, but
Yep.
she just in
Russian
general-
Doll as well. Did you
Russian
watch?
Doll, which
Amazing.
was a phenomenal show.
Fabulous show.
But she oozes cool anyway.
Totally.
She's just the coolest. But
Even
the
watching her on chat shows, you know, when she's on those late night
just
chat shows,
like-
she
you're
is.
just
That's
like-
exactly who she is. The character she plays is who she is.
Yeah, you wanna be friends with her.
Yep.
But the whole kind of concept of the show, it's like a mystery series, but Natasha Lyonne's character is a human lie detector who basically ends up solving crimes each episode.
Okay.
I love it because it kind of has an old murder mystery feel to it each episode. So there's season 1 done, complete, and it's up on Now TV, but season 2 just started 4 weeks ago, I think now, so I think we're heading on to episode 5. Episodes are coming out every week, but some of the performances are just phenomenal, and the guest stars are outstanding. They've had Adrian Brody, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Chloe Sevigny. Like, they've just
Top tier guest stars.
Really,
So
really good.
What is entertaining beyond the premise, which is really quite simple then, and perhaps something we've seen before? So what makes it stand out? So is it her? Or is
Just
it,
I think for me anyway, and Natasha's performance is just phenomenal. She's such a likable character, and as I say, it kind of has that little lean into.
Columbo was a big influence.
Yeah,
Columbo was a big influence. Yeah,
and again, how it's shot is just beautiful. At times, I almost feel it feels like a little bit of a Wes Anderson film, where there's like these really kind of like dramatic scene changes. But
and it's the guy who does Knives Out, Glass Onion. It's that
and
caliber.
are we seeing self-contained episodes, or is there a thread runs through them? Or?
There is and there isn't. So
Okay.
each episode has its own unique story, but they are kind of like Natasha's character kind of pulls that story
Yeah, of
together.
course,
But yeah, no, it is great. Like Simon Helberg from The Big Bang Theory, he played Howard's in it as well as an FBI agent.
Yeah,
in season
he's
1.
brilliant.
Like, there's just so many familiar faces. Season 2, episode 1 has Cynthia Erivo in it. She actually plays 5 different characters in that episode.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just really, really intriguing. It's a really easy watch as well, I will say. Do you know, like, you don't. It's not a big heavy hitter. It's very enjoyable.
And it's funny both of you said too about Natasha Lyonne that she is a character herself.
Yeah.
She's not playing. You know, a lot of the audience don't feel she's playing a character. They just feel like, there's not many people like that, is there? Really?
I agree. Yeah. No, when you watch her again, if you see her being interviewed on Colbert or something like that, that's exactly who she is. She's just some of the stories she tells from real life about parties and things. You're like, wow, she's living the life. Like, yeah.
Like, and I just think that's like half of the one for this is just that she is just so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
like, her personality is just fantastic.
Yeah,
great
show.
Definitely worth a watch.
It's like 3 years since the first season. It's crazy.
Right, that's popped up on. I must have a look at that because it has popped up. Right, that is Poker Face. It's on Now TV and there's new episodes every Thursday. Richard suggested you can get along to the Donegal Festival of Food and Craft. There's a couple of great shows, Home and Mosh, coming up in the theatre. Real survival stories from John Hopkins, very entertaining, we're told. The Bear on Disney, you know, many of you love that.
Superb.
And Michael is amongst them. Murderbot's a new show on Apple. There's a couple of episodes out now, and of course we didn't talk about Resident Alien season 3, but
it's hilarious, and it's on Netflix too. I had it down for Sky, but I looked it up. So that person who was looking for a comedy, it's hilarious, and there's the 2 seasons I think on Netflix.
So your error in a way turned into a win. Fantastic stuff. Okay, brilliant. Michael Eddy, thank you very much indeed. Brilliant. Lovely having you on the show. Richard Crawford, great to have you up. He's business development and marketing manager at On Green on Theatre Letterkenny. Certainly earned your money in terms of marketing today, so thanks very much indeed for that. That's where we leave it on the 9